Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Today is Friday, February 9th, 2024, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. Cash App $, ORION NWSF, or the YouTube Super Chat right here. We got SuperBowl LVIII, Super Bowl 58. San Francisco 49ers versus the Kansas City Chiefs with a preview and predictions. Hope everyone is having a fantastic Friday. I'm not going to stay on too long. Obviously, I tried to do this stream a little bit earlier. I was going to do it around 5 o'clock, but I went on two really long walks with me and Paisley Pup. And, you know, we already, I don't know how many hours we went, probably 2+ today already. So a little exhausted, a little tired, but I wanted to make sure that we still ended up doing this video. Even if it ends up being short, it might be 30 minutes. It might be an hour, you know, depending on who we get to show up and where we're sitting at. Maybe we'll go an hour and a half or two, but there is no really set time limit. But I got a lot of stuff that we can definitely go over. Eric in the building, what's good? Sarah in the building, what's good? But we can go into previews, the teams, quarterbacks, biggest questions, the keys to the Niners of winning, keys to the Chiefs of winning, picks for the MVP, stats to know, bold predictions, injuries, betting, you know, for a lot of those people that are going to be looking at that. So I got a lot that we can end up going over. I'll end up just, you know, going into a few photos, and we'll go into some information to kind of start off, and then we'll see who ends up kind of dropping through, and then we'll go from there. So let me cue some music in the background for y'all. A few pictures here, and then we can start off. Let me see where I was going to start here, but I hope everyone is good. I can't believe that we already have Super Bowl Sunday right around the corner. Wild. It's crazy. But we're here. You know, we got today. We'll go over the game. Obviously, on Saturday, we'll be doing the Flyers and the Kraken. Otherwise, I could have did this preview video tomorrow, but the Kraken are playing tomorrow. And then we got Super Bowl Sunday. Should be pretty fun. All right, so let's go in here. Make sure I got everything synced up here. Hope everyone is doing well. All right, so let me just start off with some of the information that we obviously have collected. Now, Super Bowl 58 kicks off at 6:30 p.m. Eastern on Sunday with the Bang Bang Niner Gang, San Francisco 49ers, facing the reigning champion Kansas City Chiefs and the Chiefs Kingdom. Now, this is a rematch of Super Bowl LVIII after the 2019 season, and the Chiefs beat the Niners in that matchup 31-20. Reflect in the building, what's good? Now, this is Kansas City Chiefs' fourth appearance in the big game in 5 years. I mean, the dawn of a new villain has already been in the league for quite a few years, but we had to wait for Brady to actually retire to really set it in stone. Now, the last time the Niners won the Super Bowl was after the 1994 season, right? Super Bowl XXIX. It's been a long time. I was 12 years old. Hell, if Dion would have stayed in 95 on the Niners, maybe I would have been a Niner fan at that point, and maybe they would have went back-to-back instead of the Cowboys winning in 92, 93, and 95. Now, the 49ers have entered the playoffs as the NFC's #1 seed, while the Chiefs were the AFC's #3 seed. Now, our NFL teams, as you know, that we've covered, you know, with the 49ers and the Chiefs, we're going to provide everything that we can with the breakdown here with the Niners and the Chiefs, all right? Sunday brings us a matchup in the NFL consistently dominating teams over the past 5 seasons, each with something to accomplish with a victory. Now, a win for the Chiefs would confirm them as a dynasty. No ands, ifs, or buts, okay? The list of teams to win 3 Super Bowls in 5 years isn't long. The mid-1970s Steel Curtain Steelers, all right? The mid-1990s Dallas Cowboys. We them boys, built by Jimmy Johnson. The Tom Brady and Bill Belichick Patriots managed to pull it off twice in 2 different decades, and that is it. Now, a victory would put the Chiefs among the greatest in a 5-year run in league history at a full stop. Now, the 49ers might feel that they, could be the dynasty, if things didn't end up, kind of bouncing the wrong way with Brock Purdy last year in the NFC Championship game against the Philadelphia Eagles. Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy aren't going anywhere, all right? But a win would dramatically impact their stories, their legacies, and putting Bang Bang Niner Gang on top once again. Now, Purdy would go from being Mr. Irrelevant and a quarterback carried by all the skilled position players to a guy who beat the most talented quarterback to ever live in a Super Bowl era, possibly besides Tom Brady. Now, Shanahan can't go back in time and hold on to those 2 leads that teams have blew in the Super Bowl with the Atlanta Falcons 28-3, and obviously with the Jimmy G fiasco that they had, when I believe they were up around like 20-10, and then there was that big comeback with 7 minutes left in that fourth quarter. But winning just one Super Bowl, even though you blew a couple of them, right? If you win one, that Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, their legacies would go up quite a bit. So I can't wait to be able to see what we're going to get. Oh, and let's not forget, Taylor Swift will be watching as well. 5 months ago, the season began with a Chiefs loss. Will it end with one, or will they raising the crown at the end of the day? Will they be the king of the castle? We will find out. Let me go into the people that are in the room. I'm going to actually look to see if I have a spinning Super Bowl logo. And then I got a lot of other information to kind of share with y'all. Sarah in the building, what's good? Eric in the building, what's good? Let's get to 100 in donos. Let's do it. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Both running backs will go over 100 yards. You would think so, right? You would think so. Both teams do have top 5 defenses, though. So at some point or another, you may get one over 100, but I'm not sure if you'll get 2. And there is a possibility where neither running back gets over 100. And if there was one to get over 100, we would assume it would be Christian McCaffrey. But Isaiah Pacheco, don't sleep on Pacheco. Smash that like button, baby. Let's go. I saw that. Congratulations to Dwight Freeney in the HOF. Reflect in the building. What's good? Odin's son in the building. He says Chiefs by 3. We'll see if I feel the same way or not. We'll get into that here in just a minute. Let's go, baby. All right, I'm scrolling down here to see if I missed anything. Chief in the building. Sarah in the building. Reflect in the building. All right, let me see what I got. Oh, I was going to see if I could find a Super Bowl logo here. Long day. I actually went up into like the richest neighborhood in my area, and I took Paisley up there to try to look at some of these houses, and it's crazy. I don't think I've ever seen more $1 million to $5 million houses in a neighborhood than this, but pretty crazy how big some of these houses are in this particular area. All right, let me see here. LVIII. Of course, Paisley wanted to hang out there, but I mean, lots of area to roam around, especially with those houses. All right, let's see here. Logo, animated. I don't know if they'll even have one made yet. Let's see. All right, let's go here. I'll have to do some more digging for a Super Bowl logo, but for the time being, I can use this one. I mean, it's not going to be the a spinning logo per se, but at least I have the image, and I can do some more digging moving forward. A lot of times they won't have spinning logos, but there we go. And then we still obviously got the Chiefs and the Niners, a Bang Bang Niner Gang, and the Kansas City Chiefs. Let me see if I can get a couple other photos up here. Yeah, that is going to be very interesting without Tooney out. But, with the Chiefs, they find a way with continuity and chemistry. And you would think that the offensive line for the Chiefs most of the time might be one of the weakest positional groups. But I feel that, even though people think that, what happened, when they ended up playing the Philadelphia Eagles, it ended up being the MVP and the difference in the game. So, normally the Niners are known for the better offensive line, but whose offensive line is going to step up and play better? And even with Tooney out, I wouldn't expect the Chiefs offensive line to drop off that much. Not like when they played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, when they had 2 of their starters, injured and not really healthy, back in the day, when we remembered that matchup when Schwartz was out, and you saw a few of those guys on that line. It made a difference. And Tooney is a good player, Don't get me wrong, but I don't think it'll be the deciding factor overall, in the matchup. So let's go here. Let me see if I can find another Super Bowl photo. I know I got a couple of them up on here. How's everybody doing today? Hope everyone is doing good. Let's see, where was... All right, here, this one. All right, final thoughts before the Super Bowl. So let's go into this, and I'll flip through a few different photos and whatnot. So let's get into this here real quick. All right, so let's preview, and I got a lot of stuff that we can kind of go over, but we'll just start it off. And again, we're probably not going to be going for a long time. It's not going to be a 2 or 3 hour stream. It'll probably end up being we'll probably do like an hour, maybe hour and a half. We'll see where we're at if we have people that show up a little late for a Friday night. A lot of people are busy, and then we'll kind of just play it by ear. Yes, I did. Yeah, I did. Pretty entertaining, to see where it's going. And obviously, Scary Rock, Heel Rock is the best version of The Rock. A little slap to Cody. And we'll see, how everything is going to end up going. Maybe we'll end up getting Seth versus Rock. And then Rock beats Seth. And then CM Punk comes back. And then CM Punk beats The Rock. I mean, who knows what direction that we're going to go. I mean, we obviously thought it was going to end up being, Rock versus Roman after, they kind of made it feel like that. But now we're going to get Cody versus Roman. But we still have time before WrestleMania. And nobody really knows the true direction of where we're going to be going in wrestling unless you're, TKO, The Rock, Triple H, and everyone else that comes up with the decision. So I'm ready. I'm ready for WrestleMania, and I'm definitely ready for the Super Bowl. Big facts. All right, so Sunday brings us a matchup of the NFL's most consistently dominant teams over the past 5 seasons, baby. Let's go. All right, so let's meet the teams here with the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's go here, baby. And we'll go with the San Francisco 49ers. Coach Kyle Shanahan. Now, this is Shanahan's 7th season as the 49ers coach and his 2nd Super Bowl appearance, the last one coming 4 years ago versus the Chiefs. Now, if the 49ers win, Shanahan will join his father Mike as a Super Bowl winning head coach. The Shanahans would be the first father-son head coaching duo to win a title in the history of the 4 major men pro sports. Never happened before. Now, the Niners rolled through the regular season, racking up 12 wins with a point differential of -193, third best in the NFL. They were so dominant in the conference that they wrapped up the NFC's #1 seed in Week 17. Now, for most of the season, the Niners faced questions on how it would fare, needing to deliver in close, late situations. As it did turn out, the Niners were saving their best for last in these moments, especially in the playoffs that we've seen in the last few weeks. Now, quarterback Brock Purdy engineered a game-winning drive in the rain against the Packers in the divisional round, and the Niners erased a 17-point second-half deficit against the Lions in the NFC Championship game to earn a rematch against the Chiefs, a chance to avenge their loss in SuperBowl LVIII. All right, Kansas City Chiefs, Andy Reid. Andy Reid is in his 11th season as the coach of the Chiefs and is 4th on the NFL all-time head coaching win list, believe it or not, 283. Now, he is seeking his 3rd Super Bowl title in his 5th Super Bowl appearance. Now, if the Chiefs win, he would be the 5th coach to win at least 3 Super Bowls, joining Bill Belichick 6, Chuck Noll for the Steelers 4, Bill Walsh 3, and Joe Gibbs 3 from the Washington Redskins. Now, how do they end up getting there? All right. So not the way that they have traditionally before. The Kansas City Chiefs at 11-6. They lost more regular season games than in any other season with Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. Plenty of problems with drops with the receivers this season as well. Mahomes had the worst statistical season of his career in many categories. A lot of them not really due to him, but due to the receivers, some were overthrown balls, some were underthrown, but a lot of it were the drops with the Chiefs receivers and tight ends. Now, the Chiefs were not among the league leaders in points as usual. Instead, they actually finished 15th in scoring, which is very rare. 21.8 points per game, but their defense, and defense wins games, defense wins championships. Defense carried the Chiefs for much of the season, and they wound out second in points allowed at 17.3 per game, which is fucking phenomenal. Now, after beating the Dolphins 26-7 at Arrowhead in the wild card round, the Chiefs had to play on the road in the divisional round for the first time since the 2015 season before they even drafted Patrick Mahomes. Now, the Chiefs beat the Bills 27-24 in Buffalo, and then the Ravens 17-10 in Baltimore to get to the AFC Championship game. So a little, preview for y'all to kind of go with some of that information there. And I got a lot more to go through. Yes. Or Triple H versus The Rock when, Rock and Triple H. But do we really want to see Rock and Triple H wrestle? I mean, honestly, how much are they going to really be able to entertain? And obviously, that if Triple H and The Rock were to wrestle each other, they would try to put on the best that they could because they care the most, out of a lot of people, right? As far as being like older, trying to put on a good performance like Stone Cold, he cares too. It's his legacy. You don't want to go out there and look like a bum, right? So, but we will see. We will see. And also, too, with the Niners and the Chiefs, there is the revenge factor, obviously losing before, but the teams are built a little different. And the thing is, even if Taylor Swift wasn't dating Travis Kelce, the underdogs, in that type of mentality, maybe the Chiefs are favored, maybe they're not. It's going to be the villain every single year, no matter who they're matching up against. It could be Niners, it could be Eagles, it could be Saints, Seahawks one day, whoever it might be, the Buccaneers, who knows, right? But the Chiefs were always going to end up being, from this moment forward, regardless of Swift and Kelce, they get married and have babies or not, regardless if they're going to be in the media or not, they are going to be known as the villain, and I think that they will be able to embrace the role. Someone's got to take the role after Tom Brady, Gronk, and Belichick, and I don't necessarily think it's something that they want to be the villain, but if it just so happens that they are and they keep winning, they will embrace it, and I think they're going to do just fine. See, the thing is, you think the Niners team is better than last year, but the one thing that really kind of irks me about the Niners, and you guys know me, like growing up, if I wasn't a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan, I probably would have been a Niner fan, but they didn't have defensive players, and I didn't want to be a bandwagon. I got a lot of love for the Lions. I got a lot of love for the Niners. I've been watching them as a little kid, blossom and grow into two different teams, and I always will root for them, but I'm not going to be biased. I'm going to call it how I see it, even if I like rooting for those two teams, even if it's not my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But the thing that irks me with the San Francisco 49ers, it isn't Brock Purdy. He doesn't irk me. What irks me is the defense. And if you don't have Talanoa Hufanga on the back end, that is a big problem for San Francisco that nobody's talking about. Everyone's talking about, okay, you got Brock Purdy, you got Run CMC, who's getting a lot of conversation, George Kittle, Debo, Ayuk, the offensive line. Yeah, you got Nick Bosa. I get it. Yeah, you got Fred Warner. Yeah, you got Drake Greenlaw. But what about the back end? Right, you got Ward, Tre'Davious Ward, you got Ward back there as one of the guys, but you don't have a honey badger, type of guy back there, as far as, the skill set, someone that that can actually get the job done, obviously on the Niners side, and then they don't have, a big piece in Talanoa Hufanga, who's kind of like a Troy Polamalu. So I'm kind of feeling that, if they don't have any protection on that back end, there may be a few more bigger plays that are going to happen against that Niner defense. And if the Niner defense was as good as the Chiefs, would they have given up as many points to the Detroit Lions? Yes, I know it's Jared Goff and the Goffense, and I know it's Ben Johnson. Yes, I know it's Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery and Amon-Ra and Sam Laporta. But if the Niner defense was as legit as we thought they were, they wouldn't have given up that many points. So that's kind of my, concern, where I'm leaning a little bit more towards the Chiefs. And like I said, if I was a bandwagon guy, I would just be like, bang, bang, Niner gang. Or if I was a Taylor Swift hater, I'd be like, bang, bang, Niner gang. But it does definitely concern me that back end isn't very good. Whether the Niners want to admit it or not, I don't think I'm afraid of them. I don't think anybody is afraid of them. And then obviously if you're doing the matchup between Mahomes and Purdy, it's really more Mahomes and McCaffrey. Because if McCaffrey scores 2 to 3 times in the game, that's what they might need him to do for them to win. If he doesn't score at least twice, running or receiving, or 3 times, maybe they don't win. Maybe that's what they're going to need for them to be able to pull it off. And with the Chiefs defense being top 2, top 3, do we really think, even as good as Christian McCaffrey is, do we really think he's going to rumble for 150 and 3 touchdowns? Probably not. Let's give the Chiefs defense a little bit of respect and a little bit credit. They are much better on defense than they have been in those past years when the Chiefs won Super Bowls or when they ended up dropping a Super Bowl to my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, and I also feel that the offensive line for the Niners, right, is going to get a lot more pub and a lot more love. And the Chiefs O-line, just like it is every year, most of the time, people are going to say that is the weakest link, of the whole entire team, right? And obviously the Chiefs secondary sometimes is a little sketch back there also. Sometimes they make plays with L'Jarius Sneed, just like the Niners with Ward, but sometimes they give up big plays. So, the secondaries are definitely kind of the weak spots, but even though the Niners O-line gets all that love, whoever wins the line of scrimmage is going to win the game. O-line, D-line, defense, coaching, play calling, and a lot of times, people are like, well, the Niners have this, they have this, they have this, and then the Chiefs' names on the offensive line aren't as sexy, and the Chiefs' O-line don't really get as much credit, but it wouldn't really shock me one bit if the Chiefs' O-line ends up being the MVP of the Super Bowl again, right? Even though Patrick Mahomes will probably end up getting the award, if they win, but the Chiefs O-line will be the true MVP, just like they were the true MVP against the Eagles last year when they were considered the worst unit, positional group out of all the groups on both sides of the ball. All the Eagles had to do was get 1 sack and 1 pick, and they might have won, and they couldn't even do that. So we need to give some respect to the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line. We know the defense has been better than the offense this year, but also remember, Patrick Mahomes has been able to stay relatively clean, right? He hasn't thrown a lot of picks. He hasn't got sacked a lot. He hasn't made a lot of bonehead throws. Most of his throws have been pretty accurate. If you don't have to worry about Kadarius Toney or Sky Moore, and you're going to go to, Noah Gray or Justin Watson or Travis Kelce or Rashee Rice, you're probably not going to get McKinnon playing. Looks like he's kind of hurt, so that's unfortunate, but you got Pacheco. So for me, looking at the team, you can say, well, if it's late and it's close, who are you going to trust? Are you going to trust Mahomes? Or are you going to trust Purdy? And I'm not saying that the Niners can't win the Super Bowl, but again, for me, you have to bring in somebody that is Joe Montana or Steve Young, right? We already know Shanahan has had Matt Ryan, who was like, based off stats, Hall of Famer, but since he didn't get the Super Bowl, he's kind of like fringe Hall of Fame player. The stats probably say that he deserves to be in, but when you end up losing a Super Bowl and you don't get over, the hump, there's a lot of guys where Phillip Rivers, and then people, even Eli Manning, he beat Brady twice, but Eli Manning had 1 good year, 1 bad year, 1 good year, 1 bad year, and he was blessed with Michael Strahan and Coughlin, and they were lucky enough to end up beating the Patriots. But does that mean Eli's a Hall of Famer? To some of you, maybe yes, but to some of us, maybe not. Is it just based off the Super Bowls, or is it based off the career? And, there's a lot to debate on there, so we'll see where it goes. But one thing that needs to be said, Brock Purdy is better than a game manager. When they all talk about game managers, just because he was Mr. Irrelevant and just because the Niners have all of these great, pieces with the GM and the coach and the OC and the DC and the running backs and the O-line and the D-line and the defense, yes. But the Niners, ever since Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have been constructing this team, what have they been able to do? Get production out of anybody playing quarterback or running back. This was pre-McCaffrey, right? But they learned, if you don't have someone that's elite at that position, it may not be good enough to be able to beat a team like the Kansas City Chiefs. So they ended up making the trade, and now they got the best running back in the league with one of the best offensive lines with Run CMC, and obviously breaking records, being a fantasy god, right? But Purdy, you have to think, Can both of these guys throw an interception or two in the Super Bowl? Of course. Could something get punched out? Of course. Could it be a tipped interception? Of course. Both defenses are top 5. They can make plays. But at the end of the day, if they're both going to have, let's say, 1 pick, and they're both going to have a touchdown passing or 2 each, right? 2 touchdowns passing, 1 pick, or maybe both have 1 touchdown pass and 1 pick, something like that, right? But if it's at the end of the game and it's late and it's based off decision-making, experience, and nothing against Brock Purdy, but it's really more for me, not Mahomes versus Purdy, but it's going to be Mahomes versus McCaffrey, because McCaffrey is going to be that guy that might be able to even the Mahomes, kind of offensive, distribution, because you just have to assume, what would be the most shocking thing in the Super Bowl? Patrick Mahomes, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, 250 yards. And then what happens if Brock Purdy goes for 3 touchdowns, no picks, and 300? Then you probably would assume that, the Niners are going to end up winning the game unless the Chiefs defense found a way to get a special teams touchdown or something of that nature. But, there is a lot of back and forth. But again, when I look at things, I'm not looking necessarily at quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. The first thing I look at is going to be the offensive line. Then I got to look at the defensive lines. Then I got to look at the coaching. I got to kind of break. Then I got to look at injuries. But I really feel right now, is Brock Purdy better than Jimmy Garoppolo? Yes, he is, right? And he's better than Colin Kaepernick. Right, it's the best 49er quarterback that they have had. I even saw, Colin Cowherd thinking that even Bo Nix is a better version of Brock Purdy. More athletic and a little bit faster in the pocket, but he hasn't done it on the NFL side yet. So we don't know if Bo Nix, will be able to be the quarterback that he was in college. And it also does help when you're on the Niners. You can literally plug in almost anybody there and have success at running back or at quarterback, right? But the thing is, to me, it's like for the Niners to get over the hump, and if you're going to have to go against the, NFL MVPs and the NFL Hall of Fame quarterbacks in Mahomes, Lamar, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, right? If you're going to, Joe Burrow, if you're going to be going against the best quarterbacks in the land on the AFC side, the quarterbacks aren't as good in the NFC side unless you're talking Jalen Hurts. He might be the only one that you can put in that same group with those other 5 in the AFC. So for me, if the Niners are going to end up winning, they need to get someone closer to a Jalen Hurts level, like a top 5 quarterback, rather than having a guy that might be a top 10 quarterback stat-wise, but people don't believe in him. Or a guy that is a top 10 quarterback, but you don't really get people buying in. Even if he's a top 5 quarterback, top 10 stats, people still don't really fully believe. So just with the inexperience with Purdy, no Talanoa Hufanga, to me, that's the biggest X factor that's not playing in the game. Tooney is big on the offensive line for the Chiefs, but Talanoa Hufanga is a game wrecker and a game changer. He could be the guy that gets a pick 6 on Mahomes. He could be the guy that ends up getting that pick 6 to turn the game around. He's not there. So if you're not going to end up having one of those key pieces there, that's a huge disadvantage in my book. And that's the first thing that I look at, who's injured, right? And who could actually make a big difference, right, in the game. And obviously the offensive line. So we'll see where it goes. But just a couple things that I wanted to share. Let me scroll up to a couple of the comments, and then I'll go into the rest of the information that I have for you guys as well. Let me scroll, baby. Yep. And if you got to think, whose defense has been playing better, the Chiefs offense is finding a little bit a harder time to score points, but again, a win is a win. As long as you're able to shut down that team, it's not like the game with Baltimore was 34-31, kind of like with the Niners and the Lions, where we both know the defenses are good, but the offenses are better and they're being able to manipulate the defenses and score a lot of points. The Chiefs defense, overall, yes, you have the Cleveland Browns. Yes, you have all these other teams out there. But if you look, within the last, maybe month of the regular season into the playoffs, who has been playing better on defense than the Chiefs? Nobody. So something to keep an eye on. And we know defense wins games, but defense wins championships. Big facts. Taylor in the building. What's good? Well, I think both defenses, let's be fair. Let's be fair. Both defenses are worried. Christian McCaffrey, he can go off for 1, 2, 3 touchdowns, 200 or 250 total yards receiving and rushing. It's not crazy. It's not like we haven't seen that, right? And then Pacheco is a guy that can score 1, 2, 3 times in a game, and he can run and he can receive. He may not be Christian McCaffrey, but Pacheco has played like a top 10 running back this season. So I think both teams are concerned. But one thing, though, that I think that is another thing that people aren't mentioning, the Kansas City Chiefs players in the last 2 months have been better tacklers of the football and the players, than the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco 49ers, they dive a lot. They rely on a lot of gang tackles. And if you actually look at the pressures with like George Karlaftis and Chris Jones, and you look at the collapsing of the players, you get better wrap-up tackles with the Chiefs, which that shows more discipline. More discipline equals wins, and a win will equal a Super Bowl. So, that's another thing. So I think that both defenses are going to be concerned, but again, Chiefs are not afraid. Christian McCaffrey can be the best, running back on planet Earth, and he could be the best one for 5 years in a row. They are the villains now. They're not afraid. And the Chiefs defense is better this time around. This is the best defense the Chiefs have had in the Super Bowl era with Patrick Mahomes. They have never had a defense as good as this one, at least statistically, in quite a while, right? So, normally it's flipped. Maybe the defense is like 15th and the offense is 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So it's a little different where the offense is 15th, right? And they're not scoring 30, 40 points. They're scoring, 17 to 24. But if that's good enough to win, fuck it, right? But the defense has been holding to a lot of teams under 20. And, that says a whole lot, to me on what they're able to do. And they're able to get pressure on the quarterback a little bit easier. And I think with, the Chiefs defense getting pressure on Purdy will be easier for them than it will be for them to get to Mahomes. Oh, yeah, you already know what it is with Pacheco, bro. You know what it is. Yeah, but the thing with Purdy, it's offensive line. It's not Purdy, it's offensive line, because the offensive line dictates how long Purdy has in the pocket for him to go through his progressions. So again, if the offensive line for the Niners plays bad, Chiefs D-line plays good, it's over. The offensive line that plays the best in the game is going to win. In my opinion, that's going to be the Chiefs, even though name for name, Tooney is out, and name for name, they're the lower offensive line. But again, they had to go against the Eagles last year, and they ended up being the MVP of the Super Bowl, even though they didn't get the award they should have. And a lot of times, the quarterback gets all the love and all the hate. But again, to be able to make the big plays to your favorite tight ends and your favorite wide receivers and your favorite running backs in the flat, the quarterback needs to have more than a second and a half. He's going to need 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. And then also, who is going to be the better quarterback scrambling out of the pocket in the bootleg? Will it be Mahomes or Purdy? And it's pretty clear Mahomes is the better quarterback on the run. But Purdy isn't that bad on the bootleg, but he's normally more in the pocket. So the more you can force a guy out of the pocket, and having to run bootleg when it's not designed, that's going to lead to turnovers. And again, Brock Purdy can still put up top 10 stats, have all these pieces, but Brock Purdy isn't a top 5 guy like Jalen Hurts. And for me, if you're going to beat the Chiefs, you better have Tom Brady back there, or a Jalen Hurts, or a Josh Allen, or a Joe Burrow, or a Lamar. You got to have someone that's a top guy. And, they've had, Colin Kaepernick, a top 16 guy, sometimes played top 10, but again, when it comes to a Super Bowl and you're going against Ray Lewis and Ed Reed, it ain't happening. And we had Jimmy G, but now we see how horrible Jimmy really is. So it shows you how good Shanahan is on getting the most out of his players. But even for Brock Purdy, this might be a little bit too much for them to overcome. And, I'm not saying that the Niners need to get Kirk Cousins, you know what I mean? And I'm not sure how much higher Kirk Cousins' stat line or accuracy or touchdown numbers would be if he didn't tear his knee. But even Kirk Cousins might not be good enough to lead the Niners to a Super Bowl over the Chiefs. It might have to be a Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Lamar, and, all of them are in the AFC. So all of them are going to have to face Mahomes to get to the Super Bowl. The only one that's really solid on the other side is Jalen, right? So something to think about, something to ponder, but we'll see where it goes. Extra factors to the game. Pacific Northwest, brother. But again, I think a lot of people just knowing that, how much love I have for Bang Bang Niner Gang, even though I'm a Bucks fan, growing up, I grew up in the Joe Montana, Jerry Rice era, but I can't be biased. And, the Taylor Swift stuff doesn't bother me. Just because a team that I really liked growing up doesn't mean that I think that every single big time they go into a game, I'm just going to take them just because, I like rooting for them. I love Kyle Shanahan probably more than anyone on planet Earth. I love Sean McVay. I love those coaches. But, if Kyle Shanahan is, able to get this championship, this is going to be one that he's going to have to really, really earn play calling wise, because I don't have a problem with Shanahan usually in the first, 2 or 3 quarters. It's the last quarter, the fourth quarter, the play calls, the clock management, the execution. That's where the game ends up, where he fumbles the bag. So we'll see if he ends up doing it or not. All right, I'm just scrolling down here a little bit. Yeah, but that's sometimes what you have to do when you're not a bandwagon fan. You have to go through the Elvis Gerbacks and the Matt Castles and the Croyles, and you got to go through the bad to be able to get blessed and get the good. You had the Christian Okoye, you had the Derek Thomas, you've had, some guys from back in the day before people, were born, when the Chiefs ended up having some success way back in the day. Right? So, and sometimes things come together, and it's not just Mahomes, it's a trifecta, and it usually works like a trifecta. Jordan, Pippen, Phil Jackson, Shaq, Kobe, Phil Jackson, right? Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, Gronkowski. It's not usually just one person, it's usually in threes. So there you go. You already know what it is. Yeah, grandma. I mean, Purdy also ends up making, the thing is, let's be honest though here, right? We know Purdy is much better than Colin Kaepernick. Kaepernick was a good runner, but he was more of like a gimmick player like RG3. But he already knew that he was prone for 1, 2, or 3 picks, right? Jimmy Garoppolo, he's handsome. He can, date the porn stars, but when it comes down to big moments in games, he's known for what? Nutting up and turning over and being able to throw bad picks or getting the ball punched out, where he would make 1, 2, or 3 picks, right? Brock Purdy, overall, he hasn't shown too many signs of fucking up, right? But he did have that 4 interception game, just about a month ago. So, he's still a guy that could throw 1, 2, or 3 picks in the Super Bowl. It would be more likely for him to fuck up in that game, for them, to instead do the opposite. How crazy would it be if the Niners and Brock Purdy threw for 3 touchdowns, no picks, and 300 yards? I mean, can we even envision that? Can we even, and the people, what would the haters say? A fluke game, even though the Chiefs D is top 2, it's like, you're always going to get an excuse from the haters, right? But I don't know. You would more likely think Mahomes would get 3 touchdowns and no picks, not Brock Purdy. But, we have to respect the defenses on both sides as well. Well, we'll see how it goes, but I got some more info. Go through a little breakdown. We'll start off with Brock Purdy. Let me get a Brock Purdy photo. But Purdy's a gamer. They do have a great supporting cast and great play caller and the best running back. But you have to be able to also look at some of the throws that he makes. He's making throws, that Jimmy G can't make or never made. He's making throws that Colin Kaepernick never made. They tried, but they never really could make them. So, yes, you do have George Kittle and Debo and Ayuk and Run CMC, but a lot of it also is ball placement. The spiral, leading the receiver, seeing what they can do with yak yards after with Debo, Ayuk, and Kittle. Yes, as well as Run CMC. but sometimes it's about that ball placement too. All right, Purdy, 262nd and final pick in the 2022 draft, and he could become the lowest drafted starting quarterback to win the Super Bowl, excluding Kurt Warner, who was undrafted in the NFL. Now, in his career, including the playoffs, Purdy has a 21-5 record, 808. All right, an 808 percentage. It's amazing. Well, great supporting cast, great coaching. He is the third youngest starting quarterback in Super Bowl history, 24 years old. Okay, my favorite number. Only Dan Marino and Ben Roethlisberger were younger. Now, the strength of Brock Purdy, he excels at attacking the middle of the field. He is one of the best in the NFL as doing that. The volume is there. 56% of his passes are between the numbers, third among QBR qualifying quarterbacks, and 14% are between the hashes, the most in the NFL. So when we're looking at, post routes, or we're looking at skinny routes, we're looking at dig routes, if we're going to be looking at out routes, but the main one, crossing routes right in the middle of the field, he excels. Now, but the efficiency, he's also there as well. He ranks first in QBR. Let me say that again. First in QBR, 75 when throwing between the numbers, and second, 94 between the hashes. Interestingly enough, only behind Patrick Mahomes. Now, he leads all quarterbacks in total EPA on passes between the hashes, too. Now, all of this is somewhat expected given Purdy plays in the Shanahan offense, plays strong to that offense for Kyle, okay? But the Niners are where they need to be in part, where they can execute and throwing to that part of the field. If they can take away the middle of the field, the game is over. Now, the weaknesses. Purdy, he only has a 61 QBR against zone. So what would that mean? You play zone and you make sure that nothing gets in the middle of the field, you win the game. These little things that you need to be able to pick up on when you watch tape, right? When you end up reading articles, you got to be able to look at the pros and the cons. Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay are two of the best at finding weaknesses against the opposing defense. Now, if Spags has done the tape, which I know he has, they hopefully will end up running more zone, even if they want to run man, because Purdy isn't as good at zone, okay? 61 QBR, 61 against zone, and it ranks 12th among QBR qualifying quarterbacks. For his numbers, that is a weakness. By contrast, his QBR against man coverage is 90. So why play man when, even though you're confident in your guys, when you can play a zone? The Chiefs are great this season, and then that could be the deciding factor, playing zone, abandoning man, right? And then obviously not giving up the things in the middle of the field. I've noticed that. Other people have noticed that. Now you guys have noticed that, and that'll be something that we key on when we watch the Super Bowl, while we scream at our TVs, okay? The good news for the Niners is the Chiefs are the 5th heaviest man coverage in the NFL, 51% man. And opponents can't really play that much zone against them anyways. So they're in a dilemma because the Niners, that's what they do. The Chiefs, that's what they do. So you're going to have to do something that you normally don't do, which would mean play zone. And if they do that, that could be the difference. But again, each team is going to be playing to their strengths. Niners are going to do what they want to do. The Chiefs are going to stick to what they do, play man. And we just have to find out if the Chiefs man is going to be better than Brock Purdy's man-to-man coverage. And, if it is, we'll find out who ends up raising that Lombardi trophy. Now, if they do, the Niners running back Christian McCaffrey will have a field day because running back receptions skyrocket against zone coverage. So it's almost like a lose-lose situation. Right, you go to zone, McCaffrey's going to eat you up, but then Purdy's numbers won't be as good, and you're not going to give stuff over the top, right? But if you end up going in and you end up going man, right, and for whatever reason, they get into a groove and a rhythm, that's when the Niners might end up putting up more than 20 points, more than 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals. But that is something that I've noticed, something that others have noticed, and I wanted to relay that to you guys, and that's why we're the fucking NWSF, because... Final thoughts before the Super Bowl. Not a lot of people understand the analytics and the statistics about it. You got to be able to get into that. 13.7. San Francisco is allowing 26. Yep. Yeah, and I think also both quarterbacks are going to be forced to run and make plays. I would assume that both quarterbacks would have to get over 30 yards rushing, for them to feel good. You might get 30 yards off one play, a fluke play like Mahomes down the sideline. But for Purdy, you're not going to see Purdy rumble for 30. Mahomes would be the guy that runs for like a 20 or more, but or a couple fives, a couple eights, a couple tens, right? But Purdy might have to get a couple of them, a 7 here, maybe an 8 here, and maybe a 12 or 13 there, maybe on like a go route, and it's just him, and he can, find a way to exploit the defense. But I think, quarterbacks having to run a little, that might have to be something that they have to game plan as well. Let's get those likes up, baby. I think people wanted this game. Why not? You know what I mean? The Lions weren't good enough, and the only other option was Ravens-Niners, right? And then you would have got either Lamar winning or Kyle Shanahan winning. But again, if you are the best quarterback on planet Earth, right, and you got the best coach on planet Earth, arguably, in Andy Reid, and the best tight end in Travis Kelce, it's not about the Taylor Swift and the Swifties and people that like it and people that don't. It's bringing fathers and daughters together. Not everyone's going to like how many times they pan in on her or on him. But again, this is going to be football, and that's what it's about. It's going to be a good game. Shaping up to be a great game. Faithful in the building. What's good? But we just went over some stats there, obviously, for Brock Purdy. And since Faithful just came in, I'll go over that just real quick again. So strengths, weaknesses, I like to be able to watch film and go over what I've seen and what I've read. But obviously, Purdy excels at attacking the middle of the field. The volume is there. 56% of his passes are between the numbers. Third most among QBR qualifying quarterbacks. 14% are between the hashes, which is the most in the NFL. And the efficiency is good. First in QBR, 75 when throwing between the numbers. And second, 94 between the hashes behind Mahomes. Right? Leads all quarterbacks in total EPA between the hashes, which is big, okay? But the thing is, it's the weaknesses. Purdy only has a 61 QBR against zone. The Chiefs run man, so they don't really have to worry about that. He ranks 12th among QBR calling quarterbacks, which is tough. So for his numbers, that's a weakness. But by contrast, QBR against man is 90. So when teams go zone against Purdy, right? And of course, if you go zone and you have great corners and secondary, that's when you can make him pay. But again, the Niners typically run man. Good news for the Niners, Chiefs are the 5th heaviest man coverage team, 51% in man, and opponents really don't play that much zone against them. Now, but if they decide to do it and try to force Brock Purdy's hand, Christian McCaffrey excels at zone coverage, obviously, in getting receptions. So that's a way where you may take one game out of it, Brock Purdy, but then it excels Christian McCaffrey's game. So who do you want to really beat you in the Super Bowl? Do you want to force Brock Purdy's hand, or do you want McCaffrey to try to beat you? And I would assume most people, Chief fans, are going to want Purdy to try to beat you, not McCaffrey. Because McCaffrey might end up beating you regardless because he's so damn good, right? Let's go to Patrick Mahomes. But some good stats that I think a lot of people don't look at. Zone, mad, percentages, analytics. They pretty much are like, well, I hate Taylor Swift. Fuck them. Let's just go Niners. Or whatever the reasoning may be. We got to go deeper. They got to go deeper, okay? Let's go to Patrick Mahomes, okay? The clone. The best thing since sliced bread. The quarterback and the player that most likely will come closest to getting to Tom Brady. And if there's anyone else, I don't know who we could even throw up into that category. Jalen Hurts, maybe Joe Burrow, if things can improve for those guys, I mean, really the only problem that Mahomes has in his career is 2 guys have only beaten him. Tom Brady, no longer in the league, going to be in the booth next year, right? And Joe Burrow. That's it. Yeah, so if it ain't Joe Burrow, it's pretty much, it's a done deal most of the time. Patrick Mahomes has a career record of 88-25. Let me say that again. Patrick Mahomes has a career record of 88-25. But again, remember, it's a trifecta thing. Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Phil Jackson, Kobe, Shaq, right? Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. He is 3-0 against the Niners, including the Chiefs winning Super Bowl LIV. In those games, Mahomes has averaged how many? 341 passing yards, and the Chiefs have averaged 37.7 points. Third most against a single opponent with him as their starting quarterback. But if the Niner defense plays top 5, they're not going to score 37. We know they ain't going. I mean, that would be shocking, right? I think we would all be shocked if the game ends up being Chiefs 37, Niners 20. Like, we would be like, well, okay, the Chiefs won, but we didn't think they were going to win by that much, right? Right? He is seeking his 3rd Super Bowl win in his 7th season, something that only Tom Brady and Troy Aikman have accomplished. Mahomes, he could also become the first player across 4 major men pro sports with 3 championships and 2 league MVPs, MVPizzles, within his first 7 seasons. Since one guy, only one guy that we can talk about that in 4 major men's pro sports, right? Only Tom Brady and Troy Aikman to be able to get the 3rd Super Bowl win, but also the first, right, among 4 major pro sports with 3 championships and 2 MVPs in 7 seasons. Name the one athlete that got it. I will. I'll show you a photo of the greatness I'm talking about, and it's not even a football player. It's one of my favorite players of all time, and it's probably one of yours also. I have to find a good one. There we go. Who is it? He plays in the NBA. Who could it be? Who had such a dominant season that we think Mahomes, Brady, what do we think about back in maybe the 70s or 80s? Mahomes could be the first player across 4 major sports, NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, okay, to win 3 championships and 2 league MVPs in his first 7 seasons. Patrick Mahomes and some guy named Larry Bird, some hick from French Lick. Very impressive. 1979 to 1986. That's my boy. I knew I liked Mahomes for a reason. Larry Bird. You learn something new every day here on the channel. Now, strengths. When a quarterback like Mahomes drops back to pass, there are 3 potential play types that can unfold, right? A pass, a sack, or a scramble. Now, the first type that typically gets all the glory, and that's reflected in the arcane passing rating too, it's types 2 and 3 where Mahomes separates himself. He refuses to take a sack, but also we have to give the offensive line a lot of love and a lot of fucking credit, okay? With just a 3.7% sack rate. Give Mahomes credit for awareness and give that offensive line some goddamn credit, except in the Super Bowl against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where my Bucs were able to dismantle Patrick Mahomes and get the Super Bowl win. But other than Tom Brady and that defense led by Devin White and Antoine Winfield Jr., if we're not talking about a defense like Tampa's, okay? 3.7% sack rate, and has generated the 2nd most scramble EPA, 35.4 this season, only behind one guy, Bills' Josh Allen. Now, in fact, on plays that resulted in a sack or a scramble, Mahomes' QBR was an 84. That is fucking ridiculous. He is the modern day guru. He is the modern day Tom Brady. All right? Again, 2nd behind only Josh Allen. Now, Joshua Dobbs ranked 3rd in the category with a 25, which goes to show how much Mahomes and Allen are in a league of their own. All right? Think about that. Think about that for a second. On plays that resulted in a sack or a scramble, Mahomes' QBR is an 84. Josh Allen was higher, probably at like 85. 3rd was Joshua Dobbs with a 25. You went from fucking plus 84, 85 to 90, whatever the fuck Josh Allen was. Mahomes was an 84 in those situations. 3rd place was 25. Mahomes was 84. That shows you how much better Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen are in those particular circumstances in the NFL than everyone in the NFL combined. Plays that are getting resulted in a sack or a scramble or a potential sack or scramble. Josh Allen, number 1, because he can run away a little bit better than Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, number 2, because of his fucking brain and his athleticism, right? Number 3, Joshua Dobbs with 25? His rating was 25, and that was 3. Mahomes was number 2 at 84. There hasn't been that much of a gap in a stat like that in a while. But again, you're not going to find that on any other channel. You'll find it here, though. Now, Mahomes. And I'm going to go to the comments here real quick. I'll get caught up. Okay. Let me go back here. Let me see what we got. Let's get the likes up. It is shaping up to be a very great game. I am good. Bang, bang, Niner gang in the building. What's good? Debo, Ayuk could be X factors along with Kittle. For me, it's a player, again, that's not playing in the game that would be my X factor for not only the 49ers, but the entire game. No Talanoa Hufanga. You know, to be able to have guys on every level, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, and then to have someone on the back end. Not saying that Tre'Davious Ward isn't good. You know, just like L'Jarius Sneed, he'll come up with big plays too. But it's like when you end up having 2 or 3 guys back there instead of just 1, and if your best player, you know, back there isn't playing, not roaming, you know, back there, that to me is going to be the biggest X factor. And I think the biggest X factor that's not being talked about, that is going to be something to watch, will be the offensive lines. So again, mine, Talanoa Hufanga not playing for the Niners. That is a big X factor. And then the offensive lines for the Niners and the Chiefs, not the star players, but the offensive lines. That is the true X factor. Whatever offensive line plays the best is going to win the game. Let's get to 20. But I do agree that Debo, Ayuk, and Kittle could come up with some big plays. They're going to have to. You know, but obviously you would assume that if the Niners are going to win the Super Bowl, Christian McCaffrey more than likely has to score 2 or 3 times. 1 score with him and 1 by Kittle or 1 by Debo or Ayuk is probably not going to be good enough. For you to be able to take advantage of that top 2 defense, you are going to have to get over 24 points scored, which means more than 2 touchdowns and more than 2 field goals, which would be 20. So you would have to find a way, you know, for Brock Purdy not to get 1 touchdown, 1 pick. You know, Brock Purdy's probably going to have to go 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. And if he ends up throwing for that additional touchdown, maybe that additional touchdown gets thrown to McCaffrey, not a tight end or a running back. We'll find out, though. Elliot in the building, what's good? Not JT in the building, what's good? I've watched Montana and Rice, you know, like I said, I've been watching football since 85. So I've seen the good and the bad and the ugly. And if you're a 49er faithful, and you know, and it's like, you know, you can always be like, oh, we're going to win. We're Niners. You know, bang, bang, Niner gang. I'm just going to choose my team to win. But you know what? If I wasn't, you know, a Buccaneer fan, you know, because like I said, I'm a defensive-minded guy. So in 94, after Steve Young won it and he got the monkey off its back and Dion was there, my 5 favorite players that aren't on the Buccaneers, you know, were always, and I have all kinds of memorabilia here in my room. I'm just looking at. I got Joe Montana, Jerry Rice. I will always be a Joe Montana, Jerry Rice kind of guy. You know, like I said, I like Joe. You know, for the longest time, you know, it's like, yeah, you had Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, but I always, you know, appreciated what I was able to see out here in Oregon and on the West Coast. But Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Bo Jackson, Barry Sanders, and Dion. And my favorite Dion is 94 Dion on the Niners by a billion. That was because, you know, you look good, you feel good, you play good, and pretty much Dion in 94 and 95, whatever team he was on, they were going to win the Super Bowl. That's how good he was at that time. Like when they had Revis Island, Sanders was like not only an island, it was a couple peninsulas, a couple countries, a couple bays. I mean, whatever the hell you want to call Sanders, but Revis Island was a thing, but with Sanders, it was much, much bigger. Impactful as a receiver, as a punt returner, kick returner, and as a defender, and a guy that could also get pick sixes and fumbles for touchdowns. We haven't seen a player like that since him. And we probably, we'll never see someone like that. Pretty amazing. But I think that, if you don't have a Steve Young or Joe Montana quarterback, it may not be good enough. You're going against Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar. And I get it. You can have the brilliant, GM, Lynch and Shanahan, one of my favorites. Shanahan's my favorite coach, in the league with Sean McVay, based off exploiting defenses and being smart and intelligent. There's other coaches, that I like Dan Campbell, Meathead, and Mike Tomlin, for consistency. There's a lot of guys, right? But I just feel that, it's going to take a lot, it's going to take the Chiefs' worst game of the playoffs, one of the worst games of the season for the Niners to be able to get 3 touchdowns out of McCaffrey and possibly, get it. And I'm not saying that if Kirk Cousins becomes available, and Cousins may not be good enough, because, Cousins could be a top 10 quarterback like Purdy, but are you going to get top 5? I almost feel like, the way that the Niners are built, you're able to implement almost anybody at running back or running back or quarterback, but you were never able to get over the hump. And then you learn that at the running back with Wilson and a lot of these other guys, at Raheem Mostert, the guys that you've had there, they've gone to other teams like the Dolphins and been pretty good. But then you finally realize, hey, we need to get McCaffrey, or we need to try to get one of the best in the world to come. And so look at the difference. The team is completely different than those past teams that had Mostert and Wilson and the others that have been pretty good. But McCaffrey, you get the best, right? But with quarterback, if you don't have Jalen Hurts, that might be what you would need, at the Niners to be able to beat the AFC teams. It just feels like, you might be able to get there. You might be able to get there with Kaepernick. You might be able to get there, Matt Ryan, well, obviously when he was on the Falcons. You might be able to get there with Garoppolo, get there, with Jimmy G, get there with Kaepernick, with the Niners. But it just feels like you're going against a quarterback that's better. It takes a lot for you to be able to overcome that. And then if you are going to win that scenario, your defense better be better than Mahomes is. And in this case, it's not. So it's and no Talanoa Hufanga. So for me, Chiefs end up winning by 3 or 4 points makes sense. And to trust Mahomes over Purdy, Purdy could end up making history and end up having the game of his life, and we celebrate his career. But either Shanahan's getting a ring, right, or he's back to the drawing board and eventually he'll get one, or Mahomes' legacy, takes another, accolade, and he is the modern day Tom Brady and the closest thing that we're going to get. And, how many more Super Bowls will Mahomes and Kelsey and Andy Reid win? We don't know, but it's the start of them being the villain for the very first year. All the other years, they were the underdog and they were likable and we loved them because all the hate would shift towards Brady and Belichick and Gronk, or with Arians and Gronk and Brady at Tampa. Because even though they left New England, right, I think some people started to root for Brady and Gronk because it was a little bit more likable with the change of scenery. Just like with Aaron Rodgers leaving the Packers, yes, there's some people that still hate him, but they don't hate him as much on the Jets, so. And I think most people's predictions are going to be like this. 23-20, 24-20. 28-24, 27-24, 27-23, 28-23. But I feel that a majority of the scores are going to be 20 to 28 points. And between, I would say, 3 to 4 points, unless you're getting really confident and you're going to say someone's going to win by a touchdown. But, I guess it just depends on flow of the game at the end, if it's already out of reach or, what we're going to get. So. All right, brother. Yeah. I mean, like I said, because like I said, when you have like a gut feeling when your team is like full strength and you don't really have the weaknesses. The one thing though is that even though you don't have Talanoa Hufanga and Brock Purdy sometimes plays great, he did have that 4 interception game, and the Chiefs defense is very good, right? With all that being said, right, the one X factor that you have, right, that could change the outcome of the game, right, is Kyle Shanahan using Christian McCaffrey in weird ways. And if he ends up getting the ball, in so many different scenarios, he could score 3 times. And that's what might be the difference between the Niners winning and the Niners not winning. If McCaffrey scores twice, it's not going to be enough for them to win. But if McCaffrey scores 3 times, even if that means that no one else scores, right? No Kittle, they make big plays, but he doesn't get in the end zone. Oh, big Debo, big Ayuk, but they don't score, but they put McCaffrey in position to score on the goal line, or he just does it on his own because he's amazing. If McCaffrey scores, 3 times or 2 times, and you get 1 by Kittle or whatever, but he gets over 150, to 250 all-purpose yards, 150 to 250. 3 touchdowns, then that could be the one instance I think I could see the Niners winning. But if I don't see that, then I don't think that you're going to be able to win in a traditional 49er game matchup where McCaffrey gets 1 touchdown, Ayuk gets 1, maybe Kittle gets 1, or maybe you're only held to 2 touchdowns. McCaffrey gets 1, Debo or Ayuk gets 1, right? And then you get a couple field goals with Moody because you figure you're going to get a couple field goals out of Butker and you're going to get a couple out of Moody. Now, does Moody make both of his, or does he miss one of them? And same thing with Butker. How many do they take with him? Does he make 2, or does he make 3? And is that third one the game winner? So, it's going to be tough. Matt in the building. What's good? All right, let's go to Mahomes' weakness. See, I still got so much more to be able to go over, but thanks for helping out on the Twitter. I appreciate that. All right, let's get a different picture for the Mahomes. Get the likes up, sub, donate, comment, share, help your boy out so I don't eat air for dinner. Thank you. All right, let's get another Mahomes photo. But I love stats and information, and unless you're a nerd like me, some of the stuff is it's either going to make sense or it doesn't with some of the information. But again, the more you are analytical on things, the better you are at fantasy. The better you are at fantasy, the smarter you are about football, period. You have to know football like layers. The more you can understand what's going on, the better you're going to be at fantasy. All right, let's look at Mahomes and his weaknesses. We already know about how good he is when plays that resulted in a sack or a scramble, and how good he is on being able to extend plays. He's the best in the NFL at it, besides maybe Josh Allen, when they get into those pressure situations, when it's not necessarily a design bootleg, but it turns into a play action bootleg and they're getting chased, but they can still keep their eyes down the field and they can decide to run out of bounds, throw it away. And that's very impressive. You don't get too many guys that are like that. Now, Mahomes' completion percentage over expectation this season, postseason included, is negative 1.1%, which ranks 23rd out of 30 QBR qualifying quarterbacks. And that's, next gen. A lot of these other ones come up with that info. Now, some of that is absolutely on the receivers that have a 7.3 drop rate. That's insane. Second worst in the NFL, and a league low 28 catch score. Right, that's receiver tracking metric system. I like to go through many things. I'm a nerd, so. But accuracy has never been Mahomes' really dominant trait, because regardless of his receivers, he's never posted a completion percentage over expectation above 1% in a single season. So that's not something that he's normally used to. I sent Matt the information and he thought it was rumor. I was like, no, it's going to happen. I was like, because if you're going to be able to go to Seahawks, or Ohio State, you're not going to leave UCLA and then, and go down that NFL train. If you want to be able to go to college football, where this is a time where guys like Dion and Chip can really excel, and they might be able to get back to being a coach on a top-tier program. Like Dion at Alabama at some point wouldn't shock me. And obviously, being able to get Chip Kelly there at Ohio State will be able to rejuvenate his career, and he'll be able to get more athleticism out of their quarterbacks, because sometimes, like with their quarterback this year, not as athletic as in the CJ Stroud and the Justin Fields and some of the others. And then if you have a Chip Kelly, calling plays for a CJ Stroud or a Justin Fields, could get interesting. So definitely it's not good for us Duck fans, but for the Ohio State Duck rivalry, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be awesome. I absolutely love it. So, again, it's going to be interesting to see, where things go. But again, if Michigan's going to drop off with Harbaugh a little bit, if I'm Ohio State, hell yeah, I'm fucking trying to grab Chip Kelly. Just because he was at UCLA and they didn't win the Pac-12 doesn't mean he's not a good play caller or a head coach. So I'm very excited, and I will be rooting for Chip to be successful as long as they're not playing us. If it's Ohio State, Oregon, go Ducks. Buckeyes, fuck you. But if the Buckeyes are playing other teams, oh yeah, I'm going to be rooting for Chip to be able to show me, and that way I can scout his play calling, but then to, get him and get his swag back, to go from Oregon and then to, Niners, Eagles, it wasn't pretty, and then to go to UCLA was kind of a downgrade, but that's all he could get based off his bad reputation of being an NFL coach after being amazing at Oregon, and now coming full circle to be able to be Ohio State's OC. It may not be a head coaching job at like Georgia or Oregon or Texas or Bama, but it's the second closest thing to that. I think it's cool. I think Ohio State OC job is very coveted, just like Georgia OC, Alabama OC, Oregon OC. Like certain jobs are coveted because once you get it, you're probably, and if you're good at it, you might end up being the head coach of that school, or you'll be a head coach at a big program because of what you do there, or NFL again. So, Chip Kelly, I'm loving it. And I got keys to a Niners win, keys to a Chiefs win. But before that, we have to go over a big question. I gotta get a good photo. Can I get a good photo? Maybe this one? Maybe this one. Maybe this one. All right. So obviously, a few questions, when you're looking at no Talanoa Hufanga, to me, that is the bang, bang Niner gang. What's good? My biggest concern in the entire game is Talanoa Hufanga, and him not playing. That's to me, that is a big, big loss back there. So what that means is for 49ers cornerback Travarius Ward, right? Is he going to be able to shadow Rashee Rice, right? And then probably not. Right. And then you may, go that route, but it's going to be interesting to see because he's the best player, in that secondary, and, they might have been able to do something like that with like DK Metcalf. But again, man, zone, being able to, pass across the middle for Brock Purdy, being able to get pressure on Mahomes and Purdy. Offensive lines, whatever offensive line dominates is going to end up winning the game for a positional group. But, no Talanoa Hufanga, that might be too much for them to overcome. And also with Mahomes and that experience. It's not impossible, though. zone coverage. Mahomes had a 70.4 QBR with 21 touchdowns and 7 picks against man coverage, and a 64.8 QBR with 6 touchdowns and 7 picks against zone. So it shows you with Mahomes against zone, he's terrible. Six touchdowns, 7 picks, right? So like both teams just go opposite what they're used to, and they both go zone. Like what kind of crazy game would we get? But they might have to mix and match. But if you go zone on Mahomes, that's how you beat him. 21-7 in man, right? 6-7. 6 touchdowns, 7 picks in zone. And I'm all about defense. You know that. And it's crazy. You normally don't have two teams that normally have like 2 top 5 defenses playing against each other. You know, and normally the Chiefs offense is a little bit stronger. That's probably why the Niners are favored on the line. Or the casinos and the companies are putting the money on the Niners, hoping that they have a lot of people that are going to bet on the Niners, and then the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, and then the casinos and the betting companies win big because they're pushing the narrative that the Niners are going to win when they're not. Right? You know, so if they can say, oh, Niners by 3, 3.5, whatever, and then the Chiefs end up winning by 3-7, then they're going to get a lot of money, right? Unless you are a firm believer. But again, you know how I feel, right? This team is different from the other Reid Mahomes teams, right? The Chiefs now are led with my favorite thing in football, my fucking favorite thing. Not offense. It's not just coaching. Coaching is up there too, but it's defense, right? Now, in the past, they leaned on their offense to get it done. And they had an early lead in that AFC Championship game against the Ravens. And they were content to lean on that defense to hold on, right? Creating 3 turnovers, 2 in the 4th. The Chiefs were second in the league in sack lunches. Yum, 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 right? They don't need to rely on just Chris Jones. Who Chris Jones? They can get it with George out of the jungle, baby. George Karlaftis tied with Jones with the team in sacks during the regular season with 10.5 and 2.5 in the playoffs. George gets his photo on the screen as well. George of the Jungle, they drafted him to be this player. It took a little while for him to get, honed in, but, eventually after a year, 2 years, 3 years, it'll click for some of these guys, and it definitely has clicked for George Karlaftis. Great draft pick. One of the best ones the Chiefs have had that doesn't get talked about enough, but maybe will get talked about, especially if he ends up getting 2 sack lunches on Purdy in the Super Bowl. Now, the secondary has a lot of versatile players, allowing coordinator Steve Spagnuolo to choose from a variety of coverages, right? No, most of the time they're in man. Cornerback, L'Jarius Sneed. We know he is the top dog. Usually does a pretty good job. Didn't yield his first touchdown pass of the season until the divisional round win over the Bills. Mahomes, as a result, is content to play a complementary type of game. They don't need, to go for 40, 50 passes. He completed 30 against the Ravens for just 241, but it's enough to get the job done. So that's the thing with Mahomes now. He evolved like Kobe Bryant, going from, 8 to 24. Sometimes when you get older, or like Jordan, you end up doing one thing and then you have to adapt and, start to excel something else. Like Jordan wasn't really good at defense early on, but then became an all defensive first team player, and it ended up, doing like threes and jumpers, attacking the rim, but then later in his career did kind of the, back down in the box and the fadeaway. So sometimes you got to be able to learn that, you can rely on your defense and it doesn't have to be Mahomes heavy. So now you got the best running back that you've had in a minute with Isaiah Pacheco. We already know they've had Larry Johnson. We know they've had Jamal Charles, but not necessarily in the Patrick Mahomes era. But Isaiah Pacheco is a fit. He is a top 10 running back. He might not be top 5, statistically all the time, but it wouldn't surprise me at one point in his career if he ever gets to be top 5 statistically. But I think he will be known as a top 12 running back. There's going to be other flashier guys or guys as flashy as him, like Jahmyr Gibbs, right, on the Lions. But Pacheco is one of those guys. He may look a little undersized, but he plays like a 3-down back. He is a dog. He has a nose for the end zone. He can run from the 20 to the 20, and he can match production like McCaffrey. McCaffrey is the best athlete, right? But also one thing that Pacheco does like McCaffrey, they can run angry and run downhill and run you over. And for McCaffrey to do it, it's kind of expected, right? But when Pacheco does it, I don't think people realize how hard he is to bring down. And he's a multifaceted player, which I extremely love. So again, you don't have to have, a 3, 4, 5 touchdown passing game in the Super Bowl now for Mahomes to win. Mahomes can win a Super Bowl with 2 touchdowns, no picks. 1 touchdown, 1 pick. 2 touchdowns, no picks. 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. He can win that way and have under 300 yards passing, rely on the running game of Pacheco, and rely on that defense. And that might be the way that they end up winning this game, where he ends up having maybe under 300 yards passing, maybe 250 to 290, maybe has 2 touchdowns, maybe a pick. Maybe Purdy ends up having 1 touchdown, 1 pick, and he throws for, 245 to 275, somewhere in there, Just saying. Just saying. Just saying, baby. Let me look at the comments. $2 holla says, I want you to eat some cheese for that cheeseburger. Appreciate you. $2 holla. 98 to go. Bang, bang, bang. Stacks on stack. Racks on racks. Little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. We'll be doing Kraken tomorrow against the Flyers. Appreciate you. Well, also other times people leave is when sanctions are coming. Chip Kelly left Oregon because sanctions were coming. So if you have sanctions and you have illegal shit that's going on at your university, which is pretty much every fucking university that's out there, just the ones that get caught. But once sanctions start to come down, people typically leave. Like, they know that they can stay longer and maybe have a legacy. But with like Harbaugh too, if Harbaugh would have stayed at Michigan, what would have come out and what would have possibly could have happened? So sometimes we have to look at it like that too. But Chip at Ohio State, I like it. It's going to make our job that much harder, to be able to win the Big Ten, but it should come down to Ohio State, Oregon, almost every single year. And then Michigan will get into the mix, and then eventually USC and Washington, hopefully we'll be able to recruit, and then you'll get a good Iowa or Wisconsin or Penn State team, trying to compete, so maybe Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, Michigan, and then eventually USC and some of these others, but the defense needs to improve on that side of the ball for these other teams to catch up. Otherwise, the top tier teams in the Big Ten are going to be the top dogs. That might end up being, winners of the Natty over the SEC teams at some point. We're going to be able to celebrate it as a conference, whether we know it now or not. Every Michigan and Ohio State win, we're going to have to start celebrating it now as an Oregon, Washington, USC, and UCLA fan, because now we are the family. We are the Big Ten. We are no longer the Pac-12. That's gone. So every time that our conference beats the SEC, that says something, because we're the underdog. The Big Ten is always going to be the underdog, even though we just got our first one, with Michigan just this year. But can we continue the trend? Can Oregon win it next year to be the, over Georgia and Bama and Texas and Oklahoma? We'll find out. All right, so I got keys to a Niners win, keys to a Chiefs win, and then we'll probably end the stream, I don't know. I think that I've gone over some good information. If you've been in this stream, I guarantee you've learned at least one brand new thing. But honestly, if you've been listening, I guarantee you probably learned 5 or 10 new things, because there's things that I learn on the daily, not only from reading and film study or from you guys. So we have to make sure that we're being informative, and I'm going to give you the deep dive. So hopefully you guys have appreciated the deep dive. And my final thoughts before Super Bowl LVIII. And you're like, what the hell is that? Super Bowl 50 what? 58. All right, let's go with the X Factor, or let's go keys to the Niners win. X Factor. And then maybe a rookie. This guy right here, Fred Warner, has been a baller and a boss for a long, long time. Okay. All right, so the keys to the Niners win. Obviously, Moody has to make all his field goals. He's got to go like 3 for 3, right? Offensive line has to play better than the Chiefs. They have to find a way to hide the weakness that Talanoa Hufanga is not playing, right? And the positional advantage on how they win the game has to come from 2 players, and this is one of them. Fred Warner, and who's the second one? See if I can find a good photo of him. This guy is going to have to play like one of the best games at the position ever. You know, like you're going to have to be a boss to be able to beat on Patrick Mahomes. You're going to have to essentially play defense like Levante David and Devin White did against, Mahomes, where we prevented him from even getting a touchdown pass. Like, it's just amazing to think, as great as Mahomes is, if he ends up being the Tom Brady of this generation, that Bucs defense was able to do something that no one else will ever be able to do. Old Mahomes and not even a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl, because I don't think any defense will ever do that again. I think that the Bucs were the only one that I can't even believe that they did it. It's almost mind-boggling. But Dre Greenlaw, one of the dirtiest players in the NFL. I think that's fair to say. And he might not be Vontae's perfect, but he definitely pushes the boundaries. Do I like him? Yes. Is he aggressive? Yes. Is he overly aggressive and sometimes an asshole? Yes. But overall, do I like him? Yes. But does he fuck up sometimes? Yes. And he could end up being the reason they win, or being the reason that they have a costly penalty in the third and fourth quarter and they lose because of him. And then you might have to have some guy like Fred Warner, to step up. But Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw, these Niners linebackers, they have to play the game of the season. They have to combine for like 20 tackles, get an interception or 2, maybe a fumble, maybe a fumble for a touchdown. I mean, you're going to have big plays out of these guys if they want to have any kind of chance. McCaffrey, he might have to score 3 times, right? But you're going to have defense on that side to slow down Mahomes. And it's very, very difficult to slow down this guy right here, Patrick Mahomes, right? So with the Chiefs' offensive tendencies during the postseason run, 127.3 yards rushing and 3 playoff wins. With Isaiah Pacheco checking in at 84.7 yards per game. Now, Warner and Greenlaw, they can use that, that ability. They can diagnose the run gaps very quickly, right? They can go downhill, fill the gaps. They can cut off the ball on the perimeter. Can they impact the game? Enough. Most people will say no, but if the Niners win, we will go back and look back on this particular stream, and say, wow, maybe they did it. They found a way. Kyle Shanahan, they can finally celebrate as a champ. But again, it has to come from a particular unit where you got your best players at. And obviously we know the defensive line has got Nick Bosa. But again, they can win the Super Bowl with Nick Bosa getting a sack. They can win the Super Bowl with him getting 0 sacks. But if they, win the Super Bowl, right, both of these guys have to step up. If they play bad, there's no chance. I already know what I'm going to get here. This is I'm worried. No Talanoa Hufanga, right? The Niners' #1 defense on the passes in the middle of the field, and they're strong on intermediate passes up the middle. Now, on passes up the middle between the 6 and the 15 air yard, again, 6 to 15 yard passes. The Niners allowed a 53% catch rate compared to an NFL average of 67. So 14% lower. They're very good. Now, Warner is an important part of the pass coverage, but Dre Greenlaw, more important. Okay. He's more often covering opposing tight ends than Fred Warner. So if you look at the targets to the opposing tight ends, 42 of them, Greenlaw in coverage compared to 28 for Warner. So, and no other Niner defender is above 12. So what does that mean? What does that mean? That means this guy right here, Patrick Mahomes, right? He's got his favorite best friend, right, that he likes to throw to. I mean, we already assume that they already know that if they're going to win, they can win with another receiver, a lower name receiver other than Rashee Rice, getting into the end zone like MVS. But you think if you're only going to get 1 or 2 touchdown passes out of Mahomes, you better make sure you get at least one of them right here, right? Give your chance to get momentum, not to make Taylor Swift fans happy or to make Taylor Swift happy, but this is the bottom line, the best option you have, just like it is with Brady and Gronk. When you have Brady and Gronk, Mahomes and Kelsey, Rashee Rice and Pacheco are a close second, but if you're going to get the ball, you're going to get it here, right? You're going to go here to here, right? So can this guard this? Probably not, right? Can this right here, Fred Warner, guard this? Probably a little bit better. So, depending on how many routes are run, we'll find out who ends up winning the matchup, Dre Greenlaw or Travis Kelce. Rookie to watch, Ji'Ayir Brown, safety. First selection in the 2023 draft in round number 3. Second in tackles, 10 in the NFC Championship game. Okay? He's either going to get exploited, right, or he's going to step up. Ji'Ayir Brown. Now I got to throw a photo of him up. We got to make sure we're, we got to showcase everybody, even the little guys. So no Talanoa Hufanga, so you got a safety, right? A rookie, third rounder, starting to gain confidence, second in tackles, up and down moments, 10 tackles in the NFC Championship game. If he plays well, Dre Greenlaw plays well, maybe the game's a little bit closer than people think. Ji'Ayir Brown. Yeah, and like I said, we've seen the Niners have the lead in the game, and they may end up having the lead. They just have to be able to play good late. The Niners play good typically in the first 3 quarters. It's that fourth quarter is the one where they have problems, and it's not only the execution, it's the play calling. But I think, getting off to an early lead would be important, but obviously making sure you have a better fourth quarter, statistically, time of possession, less mistakes, and just playing amazing in that fourth. Because if the Niners play amazing fourth quarter football, it might be enough for them to come back and win or hang on to the win if they're ahead. Ohio State's offense is going to completely change. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait to see Chip implement. If he's going to implement it like the old Oregon offense for Ohio State, it's going to even be more explosive. They already are good on the defensive side of the ball, recruiting-wise, that now we just need them to be able to run the football like crazy and then just make amazing, crazy plays with wide receivers and running backs, and they're going to get, the type of quarterback that they would need to go to the NFL. They're not going to get jobber quarterbacks. I imagine quarterbacks are going to want to play for Chip. So I imagine they will be able to recruit pretty good. They'll be their selling point. Did you see Oregon and Chip Kelly? We're going to run that at Ohio State. Okay, I'm coming. I'm going. Will Rogers. I can't wait to watch UW, bro. You guys had a magical year. Michael Penix Jr., baby. Oh, my God. Can you imagine? Bro, there's going to be a game where he'll probably get like 3 or 4 touchdowns in like a single game. It'll be insane. Like the point totals will probably go up, I would assume, so there'll probably be some 50, 60, 70, 80-point games out of the Buckeyes next season. Not against us, though. Chase Young and Bosa. It's going to be hard to get sack lunches. It'll be easier to get them on Brock Purdy than it is on Mahomes. Yeah, he deserves it. Good old Brock Purdy. No, I'm going back to my regular format. I'm going back to doing running backs. But I will do wide receivers. I mean, I'm going to take best available player, but I sometimes I have a strategy in my head and then, but I'll probably go, wide receiver works, if you know what you're doing. But again, like I said, you have to have a good draft. If you don't have a good draft, you're not going to be able to, keep up. And then you just got to pray that, injuries don't affect you. Hi, Dalahala. Someone doesn't want me to be homeless. Bang, bang, bang. Boom, boom, boom. Bang, bang. Appreciate you. But I feel like a lot of times when we do these, we're getting really deep. And we're deep diving and getting informative. And I feel that we need to do that. Like other channels, will just be like, well, Mahomes is better than Purdy. I got them winning by 3 or 4. Well, no shit. Anyone can say that. So I appreciate you. What you think about Belichick coming in? You like that? Baby Belichick. Did you like that or no? Yeah. Ducks, we're coming, man. We're coming, man. Everyone knows it too, man. All right, for the Chiefs. Keys to a Chief win. Positional advantage by a long shot. Right here. Not actually by a long shot. We know how good George Kittle is. George Kittle is a beast, right? But including the playoffs, the Niner defense has played zone coverage on 67.1% of opponent dropbacks, mixing both single high and split safety schemes. Now the Chiefs can create open voids in the coverage for Kelsey, who's got 23, let me say this again, 23 of 27 targets for 262 yards in the playoffs. 23 of 27, with 38.2% of those yards coming after the catch. And the when Niners play man, especially on third down, who gets the ball? Travis Kelce. Something to look forward to. Let me know what you want to do for photos for a couple of those donos once I finish up with all my research and information and other things I wanted to go over with you. Chiefs X Factor, not Chris Jones, even though I think he will play well. Right here, L'Jarius Sneed, corner. anytime you're in a matchup like this, with Brock Purdy and Patrick Mahomes, you're going to have to worry about guys like Ward. Can he make the most plays for the Niners with no Talanoa Hufanga, or is it going to be L'Jarius Sneed? Because you got to think, these teams are going to throw, and it's definitely very difficult to be able to be consistent as a secondary member in the NFL. It's very easy to get shit on and to get shit on often and still be a good player, right? $3 holla, because I know you don't like odd numbers and you wanted to go from 7 to 10 to help out your boy because you don't like odd and you like even. Bang, 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 boom, boom, boom. Dog with the ESP. Bang, bang. Appreciate you. He's like, this guy knows. L'Jarius Sneed, though. All right, so the Chiefs ranked 5th in DVOA against number 1 receivers and allowed a league-low 49.4 yards per game to those receivers during the regular season. Largely thanks to who? L'Jarius Sneed. Now, looking at DVOA for pass coverage based on catches allowed compared to all snaps and coverage, Sneed finished 15th among corners, minimum of 300 coverage snaps with a minus 22% DVOA allowed. But what's more impressive for this game is how Sneed has improved over the course of the season. In the first 9 weeks, he allowed a minus 10 DVOA. In the next 9 weeks, he allowed a minus 40 DVOA. So the higher the minus, the better. And obviously going from a minus 10 to a minus 40, that means your coverage skills are obviously, all the statistics are up, up, up. And in the 3 playoff games, Sneed has allowed, check this out, minus 50 in DVOA coverage, which have ranked what? 2nd for the entire NFL for the year. So L'Jarius Sneed is like literally playing in the playoffs better than almost any corner, at this point has been playing at this point. So it's pretty big this season, L'Jarius Sneed. Now, part of the reason Sneed is going to be one of the big X factors, because we don't know whom the Chiefs are going to consider the most important target, right? Is it going to be Ayuk, or is it going to be Debo? Or is he going to be moving between the two, right? And then the receiver Sneed covers, surprisingly, maybe, quiet. The other one might be slightly more productive. We'll have to wait and see. You're not going to get one to shadow because, he can't guard Ayuk and Debo. If you're Ward, you only have to worry about Rice, right? Really, you got Rice and, but other than that, right? And speaking of Rice, that's going to be the rookie to watch, a little bit bigger of a name. We already assume that he'll get into the end zone, or he'll have a good chance to. Like if Kelsey doesn't get in, we would assume Rice will. And then obviously Pacheco getting in seems pretty likely. So it's either Pacheco and Kelsey, or Pacheco and who? Rashee Rice, or maybe the trifecta. Pacheco, right? Rashee Rice and a Kelsey, right? And 2 field goals. Huh? Maybe. That would be 27 points. Huh? Could happen. Top receiver, 79 passes, 938 yards, 7 tutties, only starting in 8 games. 3 playoff games, 20 catches, 223 yards, and 1 touchdown. Rice, baby. Sharp route runner, dependable hands, and he's found a spot in Kansas City. Now, Rome Odunze, Troy Franklin, any wide receiver that, they pick is going to get looked at, right? T. Higgins, Mike Evans, I know they're looking. They're salivating. They're drooling, right? But they got at least one guy that can be the 1 or the 2. Rice is more of a 2. So if you can bring in a player that's better, or if he ends up being the 1, just bring in someone as good as him. Can't wait to see what happens there. Let's see here. Matchup is a showdown between the top team and FPI, Niners 10.1, and the Chiefs 7.4 5th. The Niners are number 1 in offense. Chiefs rank 7th. And the Kansas City is number 5 in defense. San Francisco is 7th. At this point, I guess statistically, once they added up all the categories. Chiefs started the season number 1 in FPI in the preseason, while Niners were number 5. In the preseason, the Niners had the second best chance to make the Super Bowl, and the Chiefs had the third best. Chiefs was given a 12.7% chance to win, with San Francisco 11.7%. And there's all kinds of side bets and everything else going on. $10. Let's get to a hundo. 90 to go. Reflect is a OG, triple OG, Husky, my guy. You're building blocks. Probably a good bet for both to throw a pick in the game. I think that's a safe, there might be a player that has 2 or more, but I think, and you could even get 2 picks from both. I don't think that would be that crazy to think either. I mean, if Mahomes has 2 picks, they better pray that the defense or the special teams has scored, because if you got 2 picks on Mahomes, you might be able to beat him at that point. Yeah, it'll be fun. Megan in the building. She says, I'm not watching the Super Bowl. She's over the Swift BS. So here's a little something to tie you over. I'll see with the 50. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And I didn't really know stacks on stacks, rocks on rocks, little cactus jock, bang. I normally don't do streams this late anymore, and I was going to do it at 5 o'clock. Thank you so much. I appreciate you more than words can say, you and Reflect. But I did an hour walk this morning, and then I went into the richest neighborhood area, in walking distance of me. And I went to this area that has like $1 million to $5 million homes everywhere. And I went to the top of the hill because Paisley likes to explore. So our second walk was like not 30 minutes or 45 minutes. It was like an hour and a half to closer to maybe hour and 45 minutes. And my legs were done. So I wanted to do this stream at 5 o'clock, but I was just too sleepy and tired and I had no energy and whatnot. But my God, to go up this hill and to see some of these houses that some of these like rich people live in, it's amazing to see the architecture. I like being able to walk places with Paisley. She can explore and I can look at like shapes of windows. I'm a nerd like that. I like to be able to see like different styles. What does it look like? Is it like a barn? Is it shaped like a castle? How many levels does it have? What are the shapes of the windows? Are they unique? Do they have a certain type of balcony? But gosh, some of these like mansion houses, when you look, when you're at the top of the hill, I can see like my place and all these other neighborhoods because you're so high up on the elevation. You can see like 3 sets of neighborhoods and like into the distance, like ballers. Like you're at the top of like this high point in Oregon in this like general suburb area, and golly, I had to go in someone's front yard and like go down it to like look over the edge to see like where we were at, and some of these houses had like 4 levels, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then the space to be able to have windows that opened up in these mansions. They could have literally like 20 people on the deck on each level. I'm like, golly, to be that rich, huh? I guess that's what it is. But thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let me know what you want to do for photos, the 2 of you, and we'll be on here for at least 12 more minutes, maybe slightly longer for you guys. I appreciate you. But I do think the game is going to be close. I think within 3 to 4 points is what most people are going to predict. I feel that there may be a chance that it could be decided between 6 and 10 points, depending on where the score is and if there's like a final blow, field goal or touchdown that kind of puts it a little bit more out of reach and the game is over. But I think at this point, it's not really for me Mahomes versus Purdy. It's really Mahomes versus McCaffrey. I think that Mahomes is going to control that offense. If McCaffrey scores 2 to 3 times and has over 150 yards combined, either rushing, receiving, 150 to 250 combined, and he can score 2 or 3 times, probably 3 would have to happen, for them to win. I'm trying to think of scenarios because I feel like they got no Talanoa Hufanga. Right? The offensive line supposedly is better, but I have more confidence in the Chiefs O-line. I trust Mahomes more than Purdy, but both could throw 1 or 2 interceptions. It's possible. McCaffrey is the best running back in the league, but Pacheco can play like a top 5, top 10 guy and can match McCaffrey's production. And so the drops is no longer a factor with Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney, so you don't have to worry about that. So it's really O-line, D-line, defense, coaching, play calling. And a lot of times people would say, well, O-line, D-line is Niners. That's what most people say. Chase Young, Nick Bosa, the O-line, right? With all the pieces that they have, right? But if you actually look at who's been playing better as of late, the Chiefs. They've been, not giving up as many points. And really, if it comes down to Nick Bosa and Chase Young, or George of the Jungle, Carl Laftis, and Chris Jones, I'm going to go Carl Laftis and Chris Jones. And even if the Chiefs' offensive line doesn't have as many big guys and Tooney is out, well, I think I trust the Chiefs' O-line more than the Niners' O-line based on the game I saw against Detroit. They gave up way too much. So for when I watched that showed me that as long as the Chiefs don't abandon the run, they're going to win the game. Like I said, if you just keep pounding the rock with Pacheco, which you should, if McKinnon can't play, pound the rock. You can go to Kelsey and Rice 10 to 12 times, MVS, and sprinkle in a few of the others, but don't ever abandon the run and trust the offensive line that they're going to do the job. And at the end of the day, the offensive line will be the MVP. They won't get the award. It will go to Mahomes. But I think, a 23-20 kind of game is kind of what I'm feeling, unless Mahomes can get that third touchdown where we can get it, the trifecta, the Pacheco, Rice, Kelsey combo, unless, Mahomes runs one in, right? You're probably not going to get one on special teams or defense, but, you never say never. You might be able to get one of those on the Niners or the Chiefs. But then if you get that, then that would equal the 2 field goals by Butker, 3 touchdowns. So that would put you at 27. So that's the most points that I can see the Chiefs scoring would be 27. And then I think for the Niners, the most that I could see from them right now would be 24. So I think that the furthest score for me would be 27-24, but it kind of feels like with the defenses both stepping up, maybe it's slightly low scoring. Instead of getting 3 touchdowns, maybe both teams get 2, and then they get a couple field goals, but maybe the team that gets 3 field goals compared to the team that gets 2 field goals, Butker 3, Moody 2, maybe Moody misses 1, maybe that's the difference. That's kind of what I'm feeling. And you guys know, I grew up Niner kid. So if I was just like bang, bang, Niner gang, Niners, no matter what, I hate Mahomes and Chiefs, I hate Taylor Swift, bang, bang, Niner gang, then I can be biased. But even me and the Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Deion Sanders connection, same thing with the Lions, you just can't put that part in. You just have to take that part out and just be real and just look at the teams, who's the better team. And again, my main thing is if Talanoa Hufanga was playing, right, I would feel a lot better about the Niners' chances of maybe actually winning the game. And they may be champions, but I feel that this is going to be Patrick Mahomes and a legacy moment. And then the Niners are going to have to understand that you're going to have to bring in either Kirk Cousins or you're going to have to bring in someone like Jalen Hurts. And that's the only way the Niners are ever going to beat anybody in the AFC unless they play like the Bengals. And then you end up getting Brock Purdy versus Joe Burrow. But I don't know if you'd even be able to beat them. So it's like, you have these like top 10 guys, like Kaepernick and Jimmy G top 20, and then Brock Purdy top 10, but nobody really believes. Maybe even bringing in a Kirk Cousins, people wouldn't fully believe. but he can put up top 10 numbers and is a bigger name. But even Kirk Cousins is probably not good enough to beat Mahomes. What does that say? And Cousins is normally like a top 10 quarterback. So for the Niners to be able to win a Super Bowl from Joe Montana to Steve Young, in my opinion, the quarterback needs to be a top 5. It needs to be a Tom Brady, a Peyton Manning. It needs to be one of the top guys, a Jalen Hurts. If Jalen was on the Niners, yeah, I think that could be the piece that gets them over the edge. But if you don't have a Jalen Hurts, type of player, because all the other awesome ones are in the AFC, Justin Herbert, incoming greatness with fucking Jim Harbaugh, you already know his stats are going to go up and he's going to get better. Joe Burrow is a god. He's a Tiger King, right? Josh Allen is awesome. His picks have gone down, and even though him and Diggs have not gone along, he's a great player. Whether we want to admit it or not, we just want to make sure that he gets less interceptions and makes less dumb plays in the second half, so that way his legacy goes up. We want Joe Burrow to get a championship. At least fucking I do. Josh Allen, I want him to get one. Lamar, yeah, I want him to get one. Herbert, yeah, I want him to get one. Jalen Hurts, fuck yeah, get one. But it just feels like to me when I'm watching this team, and what did I say when I was a little kid? I did not want to hop on the bandwagon of Joe Montana's 4 championships, 2 early in his career, 2 with Jerry Rice, 2 without Jerry Rice. Right? And then Steve Young in 94, Jerry Rice, monkey off the back, Deion Sanders. And I said to myself at 12 years old with 5 championships with the Niners, do I really want to be that kid that hops on the bandwagon and says, look at me, 5 rings, and then not win anything ever again, or it takes them a long, long time to do so, right? I wanted to be able to have defensive players. Deion left. If he would have stayed, maybe I would have been a Niner fan. Maybe the legacy and things would have been different. But he went to the Cowboys. In 95, they won. Right? I said, let me wait one more year. Then, got into more Florida Gator football, Steve Spurrier, obviously with, that spread offense, the running gun, right? Danny Werfel, Ike Hilliard, Jacquez Green, Rydell Anthony. I said, I like this. I like Swamp Kings. I like the Gators. Then I started watching a little Derek Brooks at Florida State, Warren Sapp at the and I said, you know what? This John Lynch guy from Stanford, I fucking like him. He hits hard. This is my personality. I like him. Ooh, Warren Sapp and Derek Brooks. Sapp talks a little bit too much, but he backs it up. I like him, right? And then boom, Rodney Barber, perfect. Does everything good. He can intercept the football. He can get fumbles. He can get sack lunches, 30-30 club. No one else has ever done that or is going to do that. And then Mike Allstott, A-Train. These are my guys. Even though I was like a Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, like who wasn't, who lived in Oregon, Washington, or California. We drooled over excellence. And in the 80s, the team was the Niners, right? But again, they didn't have any defensive guys. They had Romanowski, but he was like dirty. So I was like Deion, but that was it. And then, Merton Hanks, a little chicken head, right? I like Merton Hanks, but, he wasn't Deion. So sometimes everything happens for a reason that you have to just wait. But like with the Niners, you've had moments, and you've had the Navarro Bowman, you've had the Patrick Willis. Hell, if those 2 guys were on the Niners back in 94 with Deion, yeah, I'm probably a Niner fan today. But again, it's like I'm looking for linebackers and safeties. Those are my 2 favorite positions in football, and they didn't have it. But I don't know. It's just like the Niners can win, but it's like Shanahan has to have like the best. He has to outcoach Andy Reid and company in Spagnuolo, which he hasn't been able to do. He has to have a better 4th quarter than Andy Reid. He hasn't been able to do that. They have to play clean in the 4th quarter. They haven't been able to do that. And then, he has to get over that hump. But it's like, I just don't know if this quarterback, you got all the other positions taken care of. And it's like McCaffrey has to score like 3 times for them to be able to, take the place of putting the pressure on Purdy having to have 3 touchdowns, no picks, and being Super Bowl champ. It's like, and Purdy can go through the motions, but since the Chiefs defense is better than the past Mahomes years, this team actually is a little bit more dangerous because there is a chance for a fumble or a pick for a touchdown, and you're going to get more sack lunches and pressure from the Chiefs D-line in this game. So I'm excited. But we're doing the Kraken tomorrow. Flyers Kraken. I appreciate you very much. I'll see. Thank you so much. You're hooked on the Call of Duty. I know what that's like. I used to do that with Gears of War, Call of Duty. PC games like Max Payne, and other stuff, Doom. It just depends, and then obviously with some of the newer gen systems and whatnot, but yes. Ichiro or Detlef, good choice. Yes, I can't wait. I've had withdrawals of waiting for the crack and having to do every other team except for Seattle. It's just killing me inside. So I'm super excited for tomorrow. Super excited. Reflect with a 20. Appreciate you. One person, then another person, then one person, then another person. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks. How about some Cactus Jack? And some amazing people supporting the channel. Other people take note. This is what it's like to make dreams come true. Appreciate you. Much appreciated. And honestly, I had a fear, doing it late when I was going to do the stream at 5, and then I had to change it to 7 because I was so tired with Baisley. I had a fear that if I did this stream that no one would show up and we'd have a 0. I was like, uh-oh. And then I was going to, maybe have to do it again tomorrow. And then, do the Kraken game and then do a Super Bowl preview show beforehand. But I'm glad everything worked out. So I appreciate you guys very, very much. But I hope you appreciated all the information. This is a stream where people, if they actually listen to what we talk about, you're going to get good information. Sometimes, people are just going to be for the entertainment. They're going to yell and they're going to scream, but a lot of times it's like you can get that anywhere on the internet with prank videos and anything else. Sometimes it's just good to be able to get good, solid information with no bias, So. I appreciate you. And reflect. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. It's like between the two of you, we're going to make sure O-Dog has a good day. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks, a little Cactus Jack, bang, bang. And like I said, some people, will not appreciate us. Some people do not appreciate the way that we do things here. You know what I mean? That, you have to make sure that you're not a keyboard warrior. And a lot of other people like going to channels where they can talk shit and get away with it and not worry about getting booted and whatnot. But I'll tell you what, if you want to be able to win money, if you want to be able to get stats and analytics, you want to succeed at fantasy football, you want to win money on any type of gambling, whether NHL, MLB, NFL, college football, NBA, whatever it may be, UFC, boxing, and just being able to hang out with some amazing people, it's here. Eventually others will figure it out, but sometimes it's nice to see where it's at. And I know it will get on a bigger level. But what's important is being able to appreciate what we have, not what we don't have. And what we do have are some amazing people that keep this channel afloat. And I can never tell you how much that means to me. This, and Paisley, there's certain things in my life, that mean a lot to me. Meg, right? Fucking Paisley. Paisley means a lot to me. You guys mean a lot to me. This channel means a lot to me. I mean, just the simple fact, that it almost makes me, I don't want to say sick to my stomach because I don't regret it, but it almost makes me think crazy thoughts. I can't believe I had a PSA 9 Michael Jordan rookie card, worth $20,000 to $30,000, and I won it for $1,000 on eBay in LeBron's rookie year in 2003, right, for $1,000 when it was worth $2,500. Sold it for 6 or 7 at that time, but now it's worth 20 to 30. When he dies, it's going to be worth over 100. And I did it for the dream, But again, it's what would I rather have? 20,000 subs or a $20,000 card and a dream, And it's an amazing piece of history, even though it is a piece of cardboard. It's the most coveted thing besides a Mickey Mantle or a Babe Ruth, and sometimes even more coveted because of what Jordan did on the clothing game, the shoe game, and how he affected pop culture, not only what he did on the NBA side. So that's why a lot of people want that Michael Jordan rookie card over the mantle, or over a Babe Ruth, because you're probably not going to be able to afford the Babe Ruth or the Mickey Mantle. And even though the Jordan is very expensive as well, but for people like you guys, it makes it it makes it really worth it for all the, I feel that everything happens for a reason. And I feel like that whole process of me winning the Jordan rookie out of 50 people back when I was 21 around my birthday, and I had 10 crisp $100 bills. And I know a lot of my friends would have wasted that on partying, in over a month or whatever, or bought, shoes, Jordans, or beer, or strip club, or whatever, but I was like, no, I have to invest in myself. And so that way, if I buy something, that if I need to sell it immediately to help myself, I can. So I thought, what's the coolest thing I can buy for $1,000? I was thinking, can I get a Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, or a Michael Jordan? And I can't get a rookie card of Babe Ruth or Mickey Mantle for $1,000, right? But I was thinking, what if I can get a Jordan rookie? I was looking for stuff for like $1,000 to $1,200, and lo and behold, the economy was low. It was in a very bad position there in 2003, and the Jordan rookie was actually worth $2,500, but you were able to cop them for $1,000 to $1,500 in 2003. It's just crazy. And then to see where it is now. So I appreciate that for your hard work, memory, my good friend Becky. Oh, her birthday is today. Rest in peace, Becky. What was Becky's favorite thing? Like cats, dogs. Is there a team? Did she collect anything? Something I can put up on the screen for her. Appreciate you guys very much. And it's always good to feel like, some people may give up on me. Some people may go to other channels. That's totally fine. We just need to be able to find our circle, our tribe, the people that are going to be here, and we're going to go through the ups and the downs. And, this relationship is not part-time. This is a full-time thing, Some channels, it might be fans, but then it turns into friends. And for some of us, we are family. That's big thanks. All right, let me try to get some photos up here. But I feel that the Super Bowl preview video, it goes just as good as any video that I normally do. I'm going to give you, my takes, things that I've watched and filmed, things that I've researched. I'll do cross articles from other articles and try to pick up things. So, but again, for any of those people that, yeah. But isn't that crazy that I had the intuition, to be able to be like, okay, I had a job, I'm not working here anymore. I actually requested my Fortune 500 company job back when I was in my late teens, early 20s. When Tampa was going to the Super Bowl, I had a feeling that they were going to win, my ESP. And I actually asked my employer, this Fortune 500 company where I was making like, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 at like 17, 18, 19 years old, doing phone sales and learning from one of the best guys in the company. They had like 100 branches and 50, probably in like every, 50, states, and 2 in each state, so like 100. And so there's like 1,000 sales reps for this company. The number one sales rep, right, with this guy from like Nairobi or Kenya, right, was working in Lake Oswego, and he taught me everything I knew. So I was like, I literally learned from the best in like the world at the Lake Oswego, location when I was young. And I already had the radio, TV voice. Then I learned phone sales from him, and how to, be honest, and, his techniques and stuff that he did. And then, and then getting the Jordan rookie, I asked them, hey, can I be laid off? Right. And they did it. And then, because I wasn't able to ever watch all of Tampa's games, when I worked at this job, it was True Green Chemlon. I had to do leads. I had to go in my vehicle, do lawn evaluations, go and call and do, aeration, lime seed. And I had to set people up on lawn care programs, and this was me at like 17, 18, 19. And we had one of the best sales groups I've ever worked for. And some of the guys I still keep up with till today, and all of them are successful. All of them are like millionaires, or they're, six figure. They're all doing like really, really good. And, it's just crazy, to go through, that. And when I actually requested to be laid off, it was the year that Tampa, I watched every game for the very first time in 3-4 years since I had that job. And because I was only able to catch maybe 3 or 4 games a year with that job, because I had to work like weekends, long hours. I just, I just wasn't able to watch it. And I was like, you know what? I was like, I've already worked at this place, Fortune 500 company for 3-4 years. Let's see if they will allow me to take a break. And I got unemployment, right? Looked for jobs, got the unemployment for the whole year, right? And I got to watch every Tampa Bay game, and they won the Super Bowl. So I don't know. Sometimes things happen for a reason, and then got that Jordan rookie, for only $1,000 when it was worth 25. Went up to 5, 6, 7 during the Jordan documentary, and then obviously up, Jordan, the cards, and during COVID, Jordan, and then now it's So I don't regret it. I ended up owning it for 13 years. So it was 13 years I had fears that it would get robbed, or if I had it in deposit, at a bank, I wouldn't be able to look at it. So it's like when you have something like that, but let me tell you, taking it out of all the sleeves and actually putting this PSA 9 mint Jordan rookie in your hand, I literally felt like an alien. Like I felt like I couldn't even describe the feeling of it. It's like, you have something valuable, but it was like a gold bar, like the biggest gold bar, and you were living in like the 1800s, and it was just in your hands, and you just had it. That's the feeling. That's like the only thing I can compare it to, and like not that I can time travel and understand what it would be like to have a nugget the size of both of my hands in my hand, But it's not like crypto. Like that Jordan rookie is like I don't know, man. It's weird. And in Oregon, I think I've only seen one at a card shop, like all bent to hell. So. A piece of me wishes I still had it, but then again, it's like, everything happens for a reason. I had it for a good amount of time, and, especially when you can end up doing your dreams, right? Talking about sports and wrestling, but then also you can help people and make a living. That's really what the dreams are about. So, you can make a movie out of my fucking life, man. Lots of crazy things, predicting that I was going to get the Julio ball and then the Aaron Judge. Who the hell says that? Crazy people say that shit. And then when it doesn't happen, you're like, oh, dog, what happened? I thought you were going to get the ball. But then in my case, I say some crazy prediction and then it does happen. Then we're like, oh, this motherfucker is an alien. He's part of the Anunnaki. He's an alien dog. Time traveler. Megan with a 20. Grub to Seattle just confirmed. Oh, thank God. Yes, Seattle. Look out. NFC West. We are gunning for you. Exclamation point. $20 holla. Thank you so much. Bang, bang. Bang, bang. Bang, bang. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Grub to Seattle. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. I got many photos for the two of you. All see. Thank you so much. Yeah, and it's just crazy to think like how long I've been doing this. You got to think I've had to reinvent myself many times. Things start to work, things don't work. I used to have a partner that I did this with, and then he quit. And then, you have to be able to, reevaluate everything. Had to learn how to use the green screen, how to learn how to make thumbnails, how to do everything. So this journey is nowhere near being over. Like I've been doing this for 12 years. This is what, my 8th year on YouTube, or 9th year on YouTube, maybe 9th year on YouTube. 12 years overall, doing this, recording on certain platforms. And I'm trying to think how many years. It was at 8 and 11, or was it 9 and 12? I think it's 12 years of recording, and then 9th year on YouTube. But I feel I'm only like 1% into my journey. So, and we're almost getting close to 4 million views, which I know for some people that they do that in one video. But for people like me that sometimes have to grind away, and some videos are only getting like over 100 or, whatever. So it takes much longer to be able to, hit those kind of numbers and those achievements. But, when those achievements happen, pretty sweet, Let me look to see where we're at. And I'll start getting photos for you too. I appreciate you guys very much. Where are we at? 3.9 million. 171,064. 3,917,164. 3,917,164. Okay. 120. I appreciate you. And again, like I said, you guys have stepped up so big for the others that disappeared, or the others that have had financial troubles or issues. If it wasn't for the two of you, not only doing what you guys regularly do for me, but then also going above and beyond, because I've noticed, and you have stepped up for those others that have, either disappeared or can't anymore. And it really helps, because I would be, I wouldn't be able to do what I do without you guys. So thank you. See what kind of photos here. Yeah, we didn't go over none of the stats really during the regular season really were, what we went over. I went over a lot of stuff in the stream. So I did a preview. I did a meet the teams. How'd they get there? Brock Purdy, Patrick Mahomes breakdown, strengths and weaknesses. Questions that we think, what's going to happen. X factors. How the teams are different from the last time that they played, keys to a win, X factor, and personal things that I am looking at in the Super Bowl that I think are going to be a deciding factor in the game, like the Chiefs O-line or the Niners O-line, and the absence of Talanoa Hufanga, which I don't really hear anybody really talking about, which is a damn shame. But I imagine some people that watch this will start talking about it. So. All right, Matt. I mean, there's not going to be that, like I said, you just got to start getting motivated. I know you love Twitter and X, but you start figuring that shit out. I will let you come on. I'm not joking. I will let you come on. Like, even if your voice is weird, you get a little shy at first. You know what I mean? You just got to get used to, and I feel that with the way that we talk Ducks, you'll be fine. You know what I mean? A lot of times people get nervous. I'll be the lead. I'm the color. I'm the play-by-play. You're the color. And I can do play-by-play and color, but exactly. No time for the CDs. You got to focus, bro. And the thing is, think about this. Don't do it for me. Do it for you. Do it for you and like content for you. So that way, if you want to end up having a YouTube channel where you talk football, or you do route running, or you do reaction videos to route running, or you edit videos, or you hop on with me, or whatever, you can not only do this where you do your own Twitter thing, right? Then we do duck games. And then eventually, once you end up having that, if you want to do a video game channel for yourself, or if you want to do an Oregon Duck channel for yourself, an Oregon Duck fan YouTube channel, I'll subscribe, we'll figure it out. You know what I'm saying? There's more than just hopping on with me. I'm just trying to be able to get you, everyone's got something, and I'm not saying that, getting a channel will be the same thing that I'm doing right now, because obviously you've seen how hard I've had to work, and my story is a little different than everyone else's. But what I am saying is that you can still have a job, but then you can also find a hobby, that talking sports, talking Ducks and whatnot. And then if you actually have a computer and a laptop and better internet, you can have an opportunity to actually record on platforms if you want to, right? Either with me or by yourself. So it gives you another thing to turn into a hobby, and then that hobby might turn into a passion. I feel with a lot of us that are the regulars, our knowledge is really good. If we were on, Family Feud, we're on Jeopardy, we're going through the questions as a squad, compared to a lot of others. I feel that our knowledge for a lot of the GOATs, the mods, and the regulars is very high, like a lot higher than the average mod on another channel. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about dodging Chip Kelly, like that's a dig or something. Chip Kelly is a fucking god. All right, he's going to be great for fucking Ohio State. Chip Kelly is going to be great for them. Just because he had a bad reputation in the NFL, right? And it was at UCLA, which is a rival to USC, which you don't like, which I get, right? But Chip is going to be great for Ohio State. Like I said, if they were going to end up winning a championship, it'll probably be with Chip Kelly there. It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, he was great for the Ducks. You have to remember, right? We went to 4 straight Rose Bowl Natty, Rose Bowl Fiesta. That's something that you don't see too many coaches accomplish. Yeah, but being a head coach is different than being a coordinator, even on the NFL level. You know, it's one thing, you know, it's like if you're calling plays for the Ducks and then you go to be head coach for the Niners and the Eagles and you got a bunch of grown men, you know, that have egos, you know, and some coaches are better suited for college football and some can do both, like Pete Carroll. So, all right, let me find some photos. But you'll see, Megan, you know, in Seattle, you guys got the perfect pieces that you got there. But what I will say is that I think Chip Kelly will be very successful at Ohio State. Now, Chip is a very special, you know, he's not like every other coach. You know, he has got that aura. He's got that special thing about him. You know, he's got that Nick Saban kind of aura about him. He's not normal. You know what I mean? And like I said, it's one thing to go from being an offensive coordinator for Oregon under Mike Bellotti, which he was when we ended up beating Des Bryant at Oklahoma State, then being able to get recruiting, and that's a big part of college football too, and success is recruiting, and then play calling and being an innovator, and then being able to try to translate that to the NFL. But, you know, again, mentoring young kids and grown men is completely different. For Mariner baseball. I am itching. I'm itching for Kraken, and I'm itching for Mariners. And I have an itch for NASCAR. The itch got scratched last weekend, but it wasn't enough. There's a goat. make sure you're taking care of your mental health. It's important. Anything specific that you want to be able to see reflect? Like some Mariner players or anything like that? Oh, Paisley's in here now. She says, I miss Daddy. Take a nap? Oh, there we go. One day, we'll get them back. Yeah. Well, like I said, I feel like I call it how I see it and everything. And even like the initial excitement of them coming back would be cool. But the NBA product is so terrible that it would, after like the first year of the initial excitement from the other fans of, back in the day and everything. But I feel that, the NBA is at a very, very low point. Where I feel that they don't have as many superstars. It's not marketed really that well. The product on the TV, like when you go to games in person, it's cool. But as far as watching it on TV, it's pointless. There is no point of watching anything on TV. I mean, unless you are a particular fan of one of these other top tier teams with one of the top guys in the league. But so. Yeah, NBA boo, not good. That's me. When I see that the only thing that we can do for streaming is NBA. I want to be like, well, what do we got today? Hopefully there's some hockey or some baseball. Basketball. but then normally we'll figure it out. I'll hop in the DeLorean. Hopefully we have an electric Super Bowl. So Sarah's got the Niners winning. I got the Chiefs winning. What do you got? Do you guys have you type in the chat if you'd like. You don't have to, but if you who you got winning and the score before the stream ends, so I can see where you guys are at based on the game itself. Final thoughts. And I'll try to throw up a few photos. I still got to eat dinner, and Paisley needs to be walked again. I'm extremely tired already. I still owe Reflect and Megan like 1 billion pictures each. So anything that you guys want here, let me know, because I want to make sure I get you at least a few more before I do dip. I don't want to just leave. I want to make sure I can at least I owe you guys some. There'll be some more time where I'll take care of y'all, and you just let me know what you want and I'll take care of you. But lots of photos, lots of topics, a very informative stream like it normally is, with a bunch of amazing people. And I can't wait. The only sad thing is this is going to be the last time that we're going to be able to watch a game for a while, but a lot of us are still very in tune with the draft and the combine, so we'll still be talking NFL every day. It's just we won't have a game to watch. So hopefully it ends up being great. But you guys let me know anything else that you want, Megan and Reflect. Just type away if there's some things, and I can do that. If you want me to owe you some other stuff later, I can do that too. Whatever you guys want. I mean, I just want to make you guys happy. So that's my thing. Helping people, making people happy the best way I can. Matt's got the Niners winning. Sarah's got the Niners winning 28-25. Wow, Chief, you're going Chiefs by 13 in a mollywop, huh? A little mollywop. Niners 27-24. Niners 23-20. See, I'm more Chiefs 23-20. That's where I'm kind of more at. Next time. Okay. A couple of the Blues. Yeah, we got Kraken tomorrow for sure. Yes, I will. And I've been itching for Kraken. Kraken here, Kraken open, Kraken closed, drop the Kraken anchor. I mean, buoy here, buoy there, buoy everywhere. Yes, let's do that. Thank you guys so much for making this stream successful. I was a little worried, to be honest, with just the late start time and whatnot and being Friday night, but we don't do as many NFL streams. I would like to do an NFL stream every day if we could, if I knew that people would show up and we'd be able to hit goal or at least hit half a goal. But, until that time comes, we're going to have to do other things, which I don't mind doing. I mean, I really enjoy doing hockey games and whatnot. I love the Kraken. Hockey's fun, and I'm glad that I'm all, locked and loaded, with the Kraken. And not only the Kraken, but I think hockey, because that means I don't have to do NBA. Like, we can totally avoid the NBA and just do NHL, MLB, and NASCAR. And that's what I want. And then we can even do basketball, but we'll do March Madness, Hell, women's will be more interesting than, maybe even the men's. But we will be doing this tomorrow. What time is the game tomorrow? For the Kraken and his former team, the Philadelphia Flyers. I can't wait. How many days have we had to wait for a game? Crazy. I feel like it's been more than 10 days. I can't handle myself. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And then I got to do all these Avalanche and Stars and Devils and all these other games, Bruins. It's like, I don't mind. It's like, I want to be able to at least watch my own team too. Me and Megan want to watch our team play. We'll get that opportunity tomorrow. I'm so excited. That's when I know I really love something. When the excitement is building every day that it's not on and I'm wishing for it. And I want to watch. I want to root. I want to learn. I want to be able to see, players develop. So I know, Paisley, you need to go for a walk. I know it's late. Daddy needs to take you for a walk. It's on 4 Pacific, my time. Okay, awesome. So I'll be here tomorrow, 4 o'clock Pacific time. Kraken, this handsome guy right here, not me, this guy on the screen, right? And we're going to watch him lead our team to victory against the Philadelphia Flyers. Nice. We'll watch it together. It'll be awesome. All right. Well, I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. Anything else that you guys want? Anything else you want? It looks like I can get more for Reflect tomorrow or the next time he comes in. Anything else that Kraken Devils on Monday? Woohoo! Yes. Anything else that Megan you want to see right now? Call of Duty, Jaws, Heat, your new coach. Save the rest for tomorrow. Okay, sounds good. Megan, I appreciate you. Reflect, I appreciate you. Sarah, Matt, appreciate y'all very, very much. Hold on, we can't go just yet. I got to look at the Winter Classics before we go if we're going to end it like this. Oh, and on the day, the sports gods made one of the most beautiful jerseys in hockey history, the 2024 Winter Classic by Discover. Unbelievable. Mint chocolate chip with the red numbers, with the white outline, with the S and the Kraken. You will never find a jersey better than this. Ever. Beautiful. Well, the preview and prediction game is all done. We are going to have a fantastic Kraken stream tomorrow, and then we'll do Super Bowl Sunday. Thank you guys for coming in and showing mad love. All the people watching on Twitter/X and all the people that are watching in the room but just being quiet, shout out to you. Reflect and Megan, MVPs, representing the Hawks all day, every day. I appreciate you guys very, very much. Sarah, always coming through. Matt, always coming through. Appreciate y'all. And it was a fun stream. I appreciate you guys taking your time out of your busy schedules on watching things on Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, Prime, and any other thing that you watch things on, or playing video games and taking a little time out of your day to hang out with me. I appreciate you guys very, very much. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. Super Bowl LVIII, which is 58, preview and prediction. Thank you guys so much for all the love and the support. Aussie, release the Kraken. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Sports gods, Reflect, Megan, Sarah, Matt, and all the rest. And I got one question for you. Who you don't talk sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, and I'm out. Okay.